Chapter 3572. What? There was no one there. Heishan turned around and realized there was no one there. Then, he let out a creepy laugh. It was because of this that I had to come out and take a look. Damn it, there really was a ghost. White Bones screamed in fear. Heishan floated over. Was this guy crazy? He was a minor saint after all. How could he be so timid? Lin Xian rolled his eyes. Look at those human skins outside. Didn't you think he was crazy? This place was too creepy. A minor saint was casually slaughtered. It was already very bold of him to not be scared to death. He kicked White Bone and put your bones away. This is one of our own. After repeatedly deciding that Heishan wouldn't attack him, White Bones carefully put the scattered bones together. Then, it looked around in shock. Why did we come here? Lin Xian said. I'm looking for the secret of the fog of death. Can you use the stone on your forehead to sense it carefully and see if it has any effect? White Bones nodded and poured energy into the bone. Then, the black patterns on the bone shone. White Bones was stunned. Lin Xian was also stunned. It was indeed effective. At this moment, the surroundings suddenly lit up. There were a total of 81 lamps surrounding the entire hall. The originally dark hall was illuminated, but the light was very dim. However, it was much better than before. It seemed that this bone was indeed related to this place. Lin Xian looked around. Heishan floated around. Suddenly, he said, Kid, this place is really not simple. Do you know what these lamps are made of? Lin Xian's eyes shone with golden light. He looked carefully. It was blood. He realized that the oil hanging on the wall wasn't oil, but blood. This was the blood of a saint. Using a saint's blood to light up the lamps. Lin Xian was shocked. This was definitely not an ordinary saint. Furthermore, this blood should have been refined before. He really didn't know who the owner of this place was. Suddenly, Heishan screamed again. His body floated up and came to the top of the hall. He looked down. Then, he said, It's actually this thing. This thing is actually here? What did you see? Lin Xian was astonished. He had also arrived in the sky. In the next moment, he was also stunned. Under the illumination of the 81 green willow, the wisps, the hall below could be seen clearly. On the floor of the hall, there was a huge pattern. What kind of pattern was that? It was two fish, a black fish and a white fish, circling each other to form a circle. This was the yin-yang fish. Lin Xian was surprised. Black Mountain said that this was not an ordinary yin-yang fish. It had another name, Taiji. Taichi. Lin Xian was stunned. It was very similar to the yin-yang diagram of the yin-yang sect. Indeed, he had interacted with the yin-yang sect more than once. Their yin-yang diagram was half black and half white, and it was incomparably profound. That should be the inheritance of Tai Chi. The two were essentially the same thing, but Tai Chi was even more mysterious. Did you see that? The two yin-yang fish spiraled, but the eyes of the two fish were completely different. Lin Xian was surprised to find that the eyes of the black yin fish were white, while the eyes of the white yang fish were black. This was indeed different from the yin-yang diagram of the yin-yang sect. The yin-yang diagram of the yin-yang sect was half black and half white, and there was no such phenomenon. Was that Tai Chi? That's right, it was the yin-yang diagram of the yin-yang diagram. Could it be that some kind of existence had built all of this here? But what was his purpose? Was it for the death mist? Black Mountain kept guessing. Lin Xian was puzzled. What do you know? Who is that person? Don't you know someone from the same era as you? He asked a series of questions. Black Mountain took a deep breath. He's not from the same era as me, and he's been around for much longer than me. In the primordial era, there was such a legend. Yin and Yang, who was stronger and who was weaker. Yin and Yang coexisted, and the world was called the Emperor. In the world, some people cultivated the Yang Qi, while others cultivated the Yin Qi. When cultivated to the extreme, it was very terrifying. However, no one had ever tried to combine these two forces. Until a person appeared and tried to combine the two forces, but he failed. In the years that followed, more than once, people tried to combine the power of the Yang Qi and the Yin Qi, but they all failed. In the end, a person appeared. That person succeeded and condensed Tai Chi, however. His inheritance was not passed down and had been lost. Only a Tai Chi yin-yang diagram was passed down. The yin-yang sect you mentioned should be one of its branches, right? Everyone has different insights when looking at yin and yang. The owner of this palace should also be comprehending yin and yang. Yin and yang, the great Tao of heaven and earth. This person has a broad scheme. I wonder if he succeeded? I think he should have failed. If he succeeded, his name would have spread across the universe. However, there was no news of him at all. Black Mountain muttered to himself. Buzz. Lin Xian was surprised when he heard that. He felt that these words contained the great Tao of heaven and earth. Therefore, he landed on the ground and carefully sensed the Tai Chi yin-yang diagram. He walked slowly along the Tai Chi yin-yang diagram. Then, he sat cross-legged here and tried to comprehend it. The following days were very difficult. White Bone curled up at the side, not daring to breathe loudly. Black Mountain floated around and studied the surroundings. Lin Xian had been comprehending the Tai Chi yin-yang diagram. The Tai Chi yin-yang diagram was indeed incomparably profound. Lin Xian comprehended it and had a deeper understanding of his own great Tao of heaven and earth. However, he still did not understand the reason for the fog of death. Black Mountain said, Kid, how long do you plan to comprehend here? 10 years or 100 years? Why don't you leave now and come back when you have the chance in the future? Or rather, he could directly take away this huge Tai Chi yin-yang diagram. He also felt that the surroundings were incomparably strange. He did not know who this owner was. It made him feel a little strange. Lin Xian also stood up. He said, Let's see if there's a way to take away this Tai Chi yin-yang diagram. This is a good thing. He was not willing to let such a good thing go to waste here. With a wave of his hand, the vermilion bird divine feather flew out and emitted an incomparable light. Then, it stabbed into the ground, wanting to completely pry open the Tai Chi yin-yang diagram and take it away. However, with this move, the Tai Chi yin-yang diagram actually started to spin. At first, it was very slow, but in the end, it became faster and faster. The yin-yang diagram completely merged into one. Not good. Lin Xian felt an extremely terrifying force enveloping him. His 9-yang divine body instantly split open. With a cold shout, the 9-yang divine body bloomed with light and quickly recovered. At the same time, sword chi covered his body, forming a dragon-shaped sword realm armor to block. However, he still could not block this force. It was really too strong. The white bones were instantly torn to shreds. Chapter 3573. Black Mountain floated to Lin Xian's side and released his great sage aura. However, it was useless. This was true power. Black Mountain couldn't scare him. He said, Kid, take out the great sage pagoda. Lin Xian had no choice but to take out the great sage pagoda and cover his body. With a clang, the great sage pagoda was attacked. It made thousands of clanging sounds. However, it was blocked in the end. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief and looked outside. At that moment, a faint voice sounded between heaven and earth. Tao begets one, one begets two, two begets three, three begets all things. All things carry yin and embrace yang. Mixing qi into harmony is Tai Chi. This voice was ancient, low, and desolate. It made one's soul tremble. Even Black Mountain was shocked. His eyes widened. Lin Xian also removed the great sage pagoda and appeared again. He realized that the yin-yang diagram in front of him was gradually slowing down. Finally, it quieted down again. What was going on? Lin Xian was shocked. Black Mountain said, Kid, this might be a chance for you to understand the secret of Tai Chi. Understand the secret of Tai Chi? Lin Xian was shocked. As expected, he saw the Tai Chi diagram in front of him change again. Where the yin fish was, countless black fog appeared. It was the fog of death. It emitted a cold aura. Instantly, Lin Xian's hair stood on end. He couldn't help but take 2 steps back. Why was there so much death aura? What was going on? Lin Xian frowned. Black Mountain was also shocked. He looked carefully. I finally understand. What do you know? Black Mountain said, Look at the Tai Chi diagram. It's also formed by the yin fish. The yin fish represented the power of yin, while the yang fish represented the power of yang. The power of yin was replaced by the fog of death. However, the power of yang was missing. This meant that if you could fill it, you would be able to understand the secret of the Tai Chi diagram. As he said that, he looked at Lin Xian. Kid, your luck is too good. What do you mean? Lin Xian asked. Now, even I can't forcefully steal this secret, because only you can do it. In order to replenish the power of the sun, it must be the power of the purest yang. I am a ghost, so I belong to the cold power. If I tried to take it by force, I would be instantly shrouded in the fog of death. Even if I didn't die, I would be severely injured. But you don't agree. The nine-yang divine body is a physique of extreme yang to begin with. Therefore, even if others saw this Taiji diagram, they would not be able to take it away. Only you can take it. Kid, are you willing to take the risk and give it a try? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He knew that He Shan was right, but there was still a huge risk involved. Would his nine-yang divine body be able to withstand the power of the moon? That was the power of the death mist. However, he was unwilling to leave just like that. This was the secret of Taiji. Once he grasped it, he would be able to grasp the power of yin and yang. The yin and yang qi were originally the most primordial auras of the world. If he could comprehend it, it would definitely be a huge improvement to his strength. Moreover, he might even be able to block the death mist. So after thinking about it, he gritted his teeth and said, I'll go all out. He walked towards the young fish. In the next moment, he felt the power of the death mist invading him. Humph. He released his divine body to the extreme. Come on, I, Lin Xian, will not be afraid of you. The nine-yang divine fire burned fiercely on Lin Xian's body. Boundless flames spread. On the other side, the death mist surged. He was gradually enveloped by the death mist. Block it for me. He gritted his teeth and roared, constantly circulating his body. Lin Xian felt his vitality being snatched away in an instant. This made all the hair on his body stand on end. However, he did not retreat. Instead, he roared crazily, went crazy, and circulated his body without caring about anything. Just like that, 49 days passed. Suddenly, yin and yang merged. The Taiji diagram under his feet spun again, carrying the power of the death mist and the nine-yang divine fire. Finally, it entered Lin Xian's body and disappeared. As for Lin Xian's body, it was completely enveloped by the yin and yang qi. A Taiji diagram appeared behind him. Did he succeed? When He Shan saw this scene, he was extremely nervous. He knew that this was an earth-shattering gamble. If he won, the benefits would be endless. However, if he lost, it was very likely that he would be sucked dry and turned into a pile of bones. As he waited anxiously, the Taiji diagram slowly spun and finally disappeared completely. Lin Xian did not open his eyes. Instead, he sat down cross-legged again. There was a new message in his mind. This was a great divine ability that could combine the power of yin and yang to cultivate. It was called the Taiji art. At the same time, an aged voice rang out, reverberating in his mind. Fated one, remember my name? Zhangjuji. Bring Taiji to greater heights. Lin Xian was shocked. So it was the Taiji diagram left behind by Zhangjuji. The Taiji art was a divine ability that Zhangjuji created based on the most primitive Taiji diagram. Who was this Zhangjuji? Where did he get the Taiji diagram? How powerful was the Taiji art? How terrifying would the real Taiji be? The Taiji diagram was a yin-yang fish diagram. However, everyone would have different understandings and insights when they looked at it. The divine abilities and martial arts that they created were also different. Zhangjuji created the Taiji art, which was what Lin Xian was cultivating now. After cultivating for a month, Lin Xian opened his eyes. He stood up and slowly exhaled. I've succeeded. I've already started cultivating the Taiji art. However, I don't know its power yet. I need to try it out. After saying that, he walked out. The black door opened and he walked out. He looked at the black palace and soared into the sky. There was nothing worth investigating here. The biggest secret was the Taiji diagram. He had already obtained it. As far as he knew, this palace was created by Zhangjuji. He used the death fog here as the power of yin and then studied the secrets of Taiji. The human skins outside were all powerful saints. At that time, due to various reasons, they came to this world of death and were captured by Zhangjuji. They were used as guinea pigs for various experiments. Who knew how many saints were sacrificed to finally create the Taiji art? Now, Lin Xian wanted to test the power of the Taiji art. He flew all the way and left the world of death. Heishan jumped. Damn, kid. What are you doing? He quickly returned to the crescent moon pendant and asked quickly. Lin Xian didn't say anything. Instead, he entered the death fog. Damn, has this kid gone crazy from cultivating? Is he trying to commit suicide? Heishan was surprised, but he soon realized that something was wrong. Lin Xian didn't die at all in the death fog. Instead, he was like a fish in water, shuttling through it quickly. Soon, he rushed out and returned to the world of death. He looked at his own body and then laughed out loud. Great, it was a success. Taiji was indeed incomparably mysterious. He could use the power of the death fog. Chapter 3574. Tai Chi was a kind of Tao. In the world of Tai Chi, the power of the world was divided into two types. One was called the power of the moon, and the other was called the power of the sun. Among them, the power of the moon included all the cold and dark powers. For example, this fog of death could steal one's life force. It was extremely cold and belonged to the power of the moon. The power of the sun represented all the power of the sun. For example, flames and lightning belonged to the power of the sun. At this moment, after Lin Xian cultivated Tai Chi, he could naturally use the power of the moon. Therefore, this fog of death was no longer a threat to him. Instead, it became his greatest help. Damn, kid. You really succeeded? Black Mountain was also very surprised. This way, you don't have to be afraid of the fog of death. You can travel through the fog of death. Other saints would probably pee their pants when they saw this scene. Lin Xian nodded. In theory, that's the case. However, I've just cultivated the Tai Chi diagram and can't stay in the fog of death for too long. But it doesn't matter. As I cultivate one day, I won't be afraid of the fog of death at all. In the following time, Lin Xian cultivated Tai Chi in the world of death. As he tempered his divine body, he absorbed the power of the fog of death. There was a Tai Chi diagram in his body that kept spinning. When he could condense the law of yin and yang, its power would be even more terrifying. Just like that, Lin Xian became more and more proficient in the power of Tai Chi. At first, he could only get close to the fog of death for a short period of time. As he cultivated, the time he could enter the fog of death also increased. In the end, he could even use some of the fog of death as a means of attack. This made him extremely excited. On this day, Lin Xian was still cultivating. In the world of death, there was a ray of light that quickly descended. After this ray of light landed, it transformed into 3 figures. These 3 figures were incomparably wretched, and that ray of light drew a scroll that floated in the hands of the masked woman. Many cracks appeared on the scroll. The decree was actually broken. We can't fly anymore. We can only stay here for now. Let's see if there's a way to repair it. The masked woman said. These 3 people were none other than Yushirchia and the other 2. Yushirchia originally had many guards by her side, but now there were only 2 left. Other than herself, there was also a little maid, Xiaoqing. The other was a middle-aged woman. All 3 of them were injured, and their faces were pale. It was obvious that they had been chased all the way here. The arrival of the 3 naturally attracted Lin Xian's attention. Lin Xian sensed them through the death fog. When he saw the 3 of them, he was also greatly surprised. It was actually the 3 of them. The 3 of them had actually come here. How could Lin Xian forget Yushirchia? It was because of her that he ended up here. However, wasn't the other party being hunted down by people from the Fiend Planet? It was truly inconceivable that he could escape. Back then, the Fiend Star had dispatched 2 bewilderment fog ships to chase after the other party. What sort of battle power was that? The other party actually managed to escape. That was really surprising. He wanted to go out, but Heishan said that something was wrong. He told Lin Xian something. This caused Lin Xian to temporarily hide, and he did not go out to meet with the other party. Instead, he observed from the shadows. After landing in the death world, Yushirchia and the other 2 began to investigate their surroundings. they discovered that other than the black trees around them, there was nothing else. There were no people, no demon beasts. It was a desolate land of death. After all, there was not much death fog here, so it was safe. Therefore, the three of them also seized the time to recover. Yushirchie swallowed some heavenly materials and began to study the decree in her hand. Her exquisite face was incomparably pale. It was obvious that she had used many methods, but she was unable to repair the decree in her hand. Little Qing was also anxious at the side. The middle-aged woman did not say anything, but her hands were hidden in her embroidered robe, forming hand seals. It was unknown what she was doing. After about a few days, a meteor fell from the sky into the death world, turning into a figure. It was a black-robed man with a sinister smile on his face. As soon as he arrived, he spread out his soul and enveloped the entire world. Found you. He turned into a stream of light and flew quickly, breaking through the void. Soon, he arrived in front of Yushirchie and the others. Bitch, you can't escape. Damn it, you actually came. Yushirchie and the other two were as if they were facing a great enemy, their expressions incomparably ugly. This was impossible. Little Qing screamed. Yushirchie's expression was also cold. How did you find us? Could it be that you put some array formation on us again? This should not be. They had carefully checked. The tracking array had long been destroyed by them. Previously, she had indeed been chased by 2 fog ships. Her guards had tried their best to protect her, but they had all fallen. In the end, she had used the decree in her hand to escape. Then, she had completely lost her direction and came here. Originally, she thought that the most troublesome thing was that the decree in her hand was damaged. She would probably have to wait for the passing fog ship. However, she did not expect that the people of Fiend Island would be able to find her. Was it a coincidence, or was there another reason? Run. Why aren't you running? You actually made us spend so much time. You really deserve to die. Damn Poison Hand, don't go too far. What do you want? Yushirchie shouted, her eyes filled with a cold light. We are not afraid of you now. Only you came alone. Do you think you can catch us? We have 3 people on our side. What do I want? Yushirchie, aren't you asking the obvious? Don't you know the bloodline of your Yu family? You are the little princess of Yu family. Do you still need me to tell you the effect of your bloodline? If I'm not wrong, you haven't slept with another man, right? Just give me your first time. The effect will definitely make my strength undergo an earth-shattering change. Ha 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 ha. Speaking of this, he roared towards the sky, his eyes shining with a fiery light. Originally, capturing you was the order of the crazy demon child. Capture you, and then send you to the demon child. But now, I have changed my mind. There are only a few of us here. I will not send you back to the demon child. I will train you to become my woman. Thinking of this, Poison Hand was incomparably excited. With Yu family's bloodline, it could nourish all things. It could definitely make his body, soul, and bloodline reach a new level. There was even a possibility of a breakthrough. This was simply a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Therefore, he would definitely not let the other party go. Humph, you are dreaming. Yushirchie snorted coldly. Little Qing also said that we will definitely not let you succeed. We will risk our lives to protect little sis. Is that so? You think so, but others don't. Poison Hand sneered. What do you mean? Little Qing shouted angrily. Yushirchie's expression changed. Could it be? Chapter 3575. Just as she finished thinking, she heard a scream. Little Qing's heart had been pierced, and she fell to the ground, twitching. Who told you that I would protect my sister? The middle-aged woman beside her revealed a cold smile. The killing sword in her hand flickered with light, and there was still blood dripping from it. Betrayed by her own people, she had been ambushed by her own people. What a wonderful scene. Poison Hand laughed loudly, as if victory was already in his grasp. Damn it. You actually dared to betray your sister. Betray the Rain Clan. Little Qing said weakly on the ground. This sword had pierced her heart. With her cultivation, it was not very fatal. However, this sword was covered in poison. That poison was not something a first-layer saint could withstand, and could only silently accept death. However, she did not believe that someone would betray their sister. Why? Why did you betray me? Yushurtia asked through gritted teeth. My Rain clan has never treated you unfairly. Is that so? The middle-aged woman sneered. However, the Fiend Star can give me even more. All right, Yushurtia, do you think you can still escape now? Obediently kneel down and serve me. I can let you suffer less. Otherwise, I will make you wish you were dead. I will make you live in pain every day. In any case, I have plenty of time. There is probably no one in this world who can find me. Speaking up to here, he laughed complacently. Yushurtia felt her entire body turn cold. Her heart sank to the bottom. Was she going to despair? Fall into the hands of this fiend? Thinking of the future, she felt that death was better than living. She wanted to commit suicide, but she did not have the courage. Her hands were trembling. She said, "Have you ever thought about how the Rain clan will react after you capture me? You should know how important I am to the Rain clan. If something happens to me, the Rain clan will go crazy and disregard everything. At that time, do you think you will be able to survive? Therefore, I advise you to obediently leave and let me live. It will be beneficial for both you and me." Yushurtia, you are still dreaming. I admit that your Rain clan is very powerful, and you are very important to the Rain clan, but so what? I only need to capture you and enjoy you. When I obtain the nourishment of your bloodline, I will go into seclusion for 500 years. At that time, no matter how strong your Jade clan is, where can you find me? I'll give you 5 seconds. Are you going to kneel down and serve me, or do you want me to do it? The fire in his eyes grew stronger and stronger. However, at this moment, he was stunned. A purple mouse ran out from his arms and kept squeaking at a space in the distance. Who is it? Come out. Merciless Tyrant roared furiously and countered with a palm strike. A large green palm submerged the entire space. The space shattered and a figure walked out from it. He was actually able to discover my existence. What? There's actually someone here. The middle-aged woman and Yushurtia were both taken aback. They had been here for many days. He didn't realize that there were still people in this world. Who was this person? Where did it come from? How long did he stay? Friend or foe? In an instant, they thought of many things and looked over at the same time. In the next moment, both of them were stunned. It's you. The two of them exclaimed at the same time. Merciless Tyrant was stunned as well. Kid, it's you. Why are you here? To be honest, he was really too shocked. The middle-aged woman and Yushurtia were also extremely shocked. They realized that this person was Lin Xian. They had seen him before. Shouldn't he have been captured by the people of the Fiend Planet? Why would he appear here? Could it be that he had some connection with the Fiend Planet? Thinking of this, Yushurtia's heart became nervous again. Merciless Tyrant was even more shocked. That shouldn't be. Didn't this kid fall into the fog of death and die? How could he still be alive? This was too unbelievable. Back then, he knew that Lin Xian had escaped. But so what? Lin Xian didn't have the Chaos Soil and couldn't even walk a meter out of the fog of death. Lin Xian would definitely die. But now, Lin Xian had appeared here unscathed. It was too strange. Could it be that he had the Chaos Soil on him? It seemed that he had been careless. Merciless Tyrant snorted coldly. He didn't expect that there would be a fish that slipped through the net. If he had escaped, it would have been too bad. But now that you've appeared here, the heavens are helping me. If I kill you, no one will know about me and Yushurtia. Indeed, if Lin Xian spread the news a little, then the people of the Rain clan would naturally know what he had done. But now, Merciless Tyrant wouldn't let that happen. You reckless idiot. Get over here obediently and take care of me. As she spoke, she covered the sky with her large green palm. The void shattered, and a terrifying poisonous gas erupted. The world trembled. Lin Xian instantly dodged and appeared in another space. He looked down like a god. Humph, how dare you do such a shameful thing? You want to kill me? Can you do it? He dodged. Merciless Tyrant's face was cold. Lin Xian's speed was faster than he had imagined. The middle-aged woman sneered. He's just a brat. Let me deal with him. The killing sword on the middle-aged woman's body spun again. A terrifying Dao pattern flowed and slashed forward. On the other side, Yushurtia took advantage of this opportunity to attack Merciless Tyrant. Merciless tyrant sneered and fought. In truth, Yushurtia was very excited because this was an opportunity. She was also a favored daughter of the heavens. In a one-on-one fight, she wasn't afraid of merciless tyrant. So now, someone was restraining the middle-aged woman. This was the best opportunity for her. However, after exchanging 3 blows, Yushurtia's body swayed and she spat out a mouthful of blood. She felt dizzy. Not good. She was poisoned. Yushurtia quickly retreated, her face pale. Damn it. How was this possible? She knew that her opponent was a saint who used poison and had been on guard. It was impossible for her to be poisoned in battle. Moreover, she didn't feel that she had been ambushed. What was going on? Could it be that the middle-aged woman had done it? She hadn't known that the middle-aged woman was a traitor, so she hadn't been on guard. At that time, she had been frightened by her opponent and had been poisoned. Damn it, she had been careless. Yushurtia could feel her strength fading away, but merciless tyrant was laughing heartily. Little girl, do you think you can escape from me? You want to fight me? You don't know the difference between life and death. Don't worry, I'll let you have a taste of heaven later. He sneered, but he didn't immediately attack. Right now, he was a cat that could play with his opponent as he wished. He was prepared to deal with Lin Xian first to prevent future trouble. But when he looked, it didn't matter. He was instantly stunned. Chapter 3576. It turned out that the middle-aged woman had been instantly sent flying. Half of her body had exploded into a bloody mist. The middle-aged woman screamed. Her face was filled with fear and disbelief. How could the other party be so strong? The other party was just an ant at the first level of heaven. He quickly retreated. On the other hand, Lin Xian charged forward. The sword aura on his body tore apart the heavens and the earth as he charged forward. In an instant, it enveloped the middle-aged woman. The middle-aged woman was scared out of her wits. At the critical moment, a blue bead appeared between her brows and spun non-stop, blocking the sword chi. However, in just an instant, the blue bead was shattered, and the middle-aged woman was also cut into many pieces. A miserable scream rang out. The middle-aged woman's soul instantly escaped from her body, wanting to escape. However, Lin Xian shot out a wave of flames that enveloped the entire area. Her soul screamed miserably in the flames. Poison Prince, hurry up and save me. The middle-aged woman begged for mercy. The Poison Prince's expression was cold. What a piece of trash. He stretched out a large green hand and grabbed forward. Terrifying poison spread out in the flames and enveloped the middle-aged woman's soul in an instant. Thank you, Poison Prince. Before she could finish speaking, the middle-aged woman screamed again. Damn it, how dare you attack me? She realized that the Poison Prince had enveloped her. Not only did he not save her, but he had also destroyed her soul. Why? As she was about to die, the middle-aged woman let out an unwilling roar. Poison Prince sneered. Why? You're asking me why? Your mission has been completed. As long as you're alive, I'll have to pay you more treasures. If you're dead, I won't have to pay anything. Moreover, Yushurtia is already mine. She can't escape. What's the use of keeping you? I hate you. I hate you so much. The middle-aged woman's soul screamed at the sky. Soon, it was completely destroyed by the green Poison Prince. Lin Xian looked at this scene with a cold expression. What a vicious method. What a ruthless heart. On the other side, Yushurtia's face was also pale. If she fell into the hands of such a demonic person, would she have a good ending? Therefore, she turned to look at Lin Xian. Lin Gongzi, I have a request. Can you help me kill this person? Or rather, you saved my life. As long as you save me, house you will be eternally grateful. Yushurtia, are you retarded? You're actually placing your hopes on an ant at the first level of the sky. Merciless tyrant sneered, completely unperturbed. Don't worry, I agree to your request. I will help you kill this person. Lin Xian said coldly. In fact, it did not matter even if he did not agree because it seemed like Merciless Tyrant would not let him live. Since that was the case, there was bound to be a battle between the two sides. Then, why didn't he agree to Yushurtia's request? He could even earn a favor from House Yu. This way, it would be more convenient for him in the second astral realm. With this in mind, Lin Xian looked at Merciless Tyrant. You want to fight me with just you alone? Poisonous Tyrant's eyes were filled with disdain. He was no ordinary saint. Instead, he was a third heaven saint. Adding on his poison Dao, his strength was incomparably powerful. Moreover, this time, he had a terrifying sacred weapon in his hands, so he was not afraid of anyone. Die for me. He opened his mouth and spat out thousands of green poisonous arrows. These poisonous arrows carried an unparalleled poison. Even a third-level saint would die from the poison if they were infected. In the blink of an eye, the area where Lin Xian was located was shrouded in a dense mass. Lin Xian's 5 elemental laws flew out and turned into the 5 elemental mountain, enveloping him. It blocked the poisonous arrows. Useless brat, you're still too young to compete with me in the Tao of heaven and earth. The Tao of poison and the 5 elemental laws kept colliding, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. Lin Xian's black hair danced wildly. Like a demon god, he attacked mercilessly. His golden palm turned into a heavenly steel, constantly striking out. It exploded in all directions, knocking away all the arrows. The difference in laws? Do you think it's possible? Do you really think you can kill me? Damn it! How could it be like this? Merciless Tyrant was stunned. He did not expect the other party to be so powerful, to be able to knock away all the poisonous arrows he shot out. It was really too unbelievable. One had to know that there was a difference of 3 levels between the two of them. Merciless Tyrant could crush the other party with just his cultivation in the Tao of heaven and earth. But the other party was actually able to withstand it. It was really too strange. This brat was very strange. He must have secrets on him. He had to capture him. He rushed over. Lin Xian also fought with the other party. As they fought, he flew out of the realm. He did not want Yushirchia to see some of his techniques. For example, he had just obtained the Taiji art. Therefore, the two of them fought high up in the sky. Yushirchia watched nervously from below. At the same time, she swallowed treasures to neutralize her poison. High up in the sky, Merciless Tyrant's expression was extremely cold. Damn it! How is this possible? Who the hell are you? He roared crazily. He really could not believe it. A first heaven ant was actually able to contend with him for so long? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Go ask the king of hell. His fist bloomed with incomparable light. It was like a sun that illuminated the entire sky. He smashed it forward. The surrounding poison gas was ignited and turned to ashes. If you have no other methods, you can die now. Lin Xian's voice was cold. Kid, I originally wanted to play with you, but I don't have that much time now. I'll kill you immediately and then enjoy the beauties below. So now, you can die. As he spoke, he took out a bronze pot. It looked like a teapot. It was beautifully made, but there were countless ferocious monsters on it. It was incomparably dark green. Kid, this is called the Myriad Poison Pot. It's a saint artifact. Do you think you can still contend against me? Merciless Tyrant laughed. This was his true trump card. No matter how strong the other party was, could he block a saint artifact? A saint artifact, the Myriad Poison Pot? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He had to admit that he could feel the terror of a saint artifact. The poisonous gas on it gave him a deadly sense of threat. This merciless tyrant was very strong. No wonder he could make Yushirchia so miserable. Lin Xian sneered. So what if it's a saint artifact? Do you think you can kill me with a saint artifact? You really don't know what's good for you. As he spoke, he turned into a stream of light and flew into the distance. You want to leave? Do you think you can escape? Kid, it's useless. You can't escape from the 9 heavens and 10 lands. When he saw Lin Xian's actions, Merciless Tyrant sneered. He thought that the other party was afraid, so he quickly chased after him. Soon, he blocked Lin Xian's path. Run, keep running. Do you think I'll let you escape? Chapter 3577. The two of them had already arrived at the outer realm. They were surrounded by the terrifying death mist, but both of them were at the edge. Kid, the death mist is right in front of you. You have no way out. Kneel down obediently, and I can give you a quick death. Obediently become a vengeful soul under my myriad poison pot. The myriad poison pot in his hand emitted a dark green light, like the eyes of a monster. Well, I'll show you what I can do. At this point, Lin Xian formed a seal. He used the Tai Chi art, and the Tai Chi diagram in his body began to spin. The surrounding clouds rolled, and a chilly wind blew past. The death mist began to spread toward them. Feeling the chilly wind, Merciless Tyrant's body trembled, and a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. He saw the death mist begin to roll, but he did not think that it was Lin Xian's doing. He thought that there was a storm inside the death mist. Therefore, he could not wait to make a move. Go to hell. The myriad poison pot lowered, shooting out beams of green light one after another. A total of 8 beams of green light fell from the sky. They carried the laws of the Great Tao and completely enveloped Lin Xian. Go to hell. He believed that a 3rd Heaven Sage would not be able to block it. Even a 4th Heaven Sage would die without a doubt. Lin Xian also struck out with his palm. The surrounding death weapons were completely mobilized, and they turned into countless black torrents that swept over. In an instant, they blocked the dark green poison chi path. How is this possible? He blocked it. I don't believe it. Merciless Tyrant roared crazily. The next moment, he sucked in a breath of cold air because he realized that what was blocking him was none other than the death mist. The death mist turned into 8 black vortexes that blocked his poison chi path. Is this the death mist? Damn it. Is this a coincidence? Otherwise, how could this kid block it? Humph, you're just lucky, but your luck has come to an end. Lin Xian smiled. Lucky? Then I'll show you my strength. With a wave of his hand, the deathly mist churned once again, forming 2 large black hands that grabbed forward. You can control the death mist? Impossible. Merciless Tyrant screamed in fear. He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. What did he see? He saw the most inconceivable scene, which really made him break down. The mist of death was incomparably bizarre. No one could control it. Not even minor saints dared to enter it. They could only call it the bewilderment mist ship, or they would have to wear armor made from the chaotic earth to be able to travel carefully. But even so, they would still have a slim chance of survival. Yet now, there was actually someone capable of controlling the primal chaos mist. This was simply unheard of. Therefore, in an instant, he was scared silly. It wasn't until the 2 giant hands arrived in front of him that he screamed and came back to his senses. In an instant, he activated his chaos armor. First, he isolated himself from the deathly aura of the deathly mist. Then he placed the myriad poison pot in front of him. The myriad poison pot released countless green poisonous liquid, forming a shield in front of him. When it collided with the 2 black palms, an earth-shattering sound rang out. Merciless Tyrant was sent flying with a trickle of blood at the corner of his mouth. Damn it, this is too strange. He was so scared that his scalp went numb. He didn't dare to exchange blows with the other party anymore. This was a monster. Now, his only thought was to take Yushirchier away and leave this place for good. Turning into a stream of light, he shuttled quickly. Lin Xian sneered. You want to leave? Do you think you can leave? The Tai Chi incantation completely erupted. The surrounding deathly mist boiled completely, turning into countless black waves that rushed over. In an instant, the whole world was completely enveloped. No, damn it, get out of my way. Merciless Tyrant was scared out of his wits. He was completely surrounded. He could only use the chaos armor to support himself and the myriad poison pot in his hand to the extreme. In this situation, even if he encountered a 4th Heaven Saint, he could still escape. Unfortunately, he encountered Lin Xian. Under normal circumstances, he might be able to escape with his life. But now that he was surrounded by so much deathly mist, he couldn't escape at all. He was completely surrounded, and he screamed. Even though he was wearing the chaos armor now, he couldn't survive. Even the sacred artifact couldn't save his life. The chaotic earth could resist the deathly mist, but it also depended on the quantity. Only the size of the fog ship could completely resist it. The chaos armor could only resist for a while. And now, the deathly mist was actively attacking. It was different from when those people were shuttling. Its power was 10 times more terrifying. In the darkness, Lin Xian directly shattered Merciless Tyrant's armor with a punch, causing him to completely lose his resistance. The surrounding mist sucked his vitality dry, and even his soul was sucked dry. In almost the blink of an eye, Merciless Tyrant turned into human skin, then white bones. In the end, even the bones and human skin melted. Only the broken armor was still floating in the air, and of course, the myriad poison pot. Lin Xian put away the armor fragments. They all contained the chaotic earth. Then he looked at the myriad poison pot. As a sacred artifact, the myriad poison pot was very intelligent. After its master died, it immediately turned into a stream of light and fled. However, it was surrounded by Lin Xian's deathly mist. In the end, he pulled it in, sucked it dry, and sealed it. Then Lin Xian threw it into the Grand Sage Tower and let the astral fire erase the soul imprint on it. In the future, he would slowly refine it. His body swayed, and he walked out of the deathly mist and descended. Below, Yushirchia had temporarily stopped the poison, but her expression was a little ugly. The top was completely covered by the black mist. She couldn't see clearly at all. She couldn't remember when the deathly mist had arrived. But at this moment, she saw a figure quickly descending. Who was it? She became nervous again. If it was Merciless Tyrant, then she would definitely die. When she saw the figure, she heaved a sigh of relief. It was Lin Xian. She asked impatiently, "Where's Merciless Tyrant?" "He's already dead." "What? Dead?" Yushirchia was shocked. She couldn't believe this result. It was simply too unbelievable. She asked, "Did you kill him? Are you sure?" "He's dead. I shattered his chaotic armor, and the deathly mist sucked his life force dry." So he was killed by the deathly mist. Yushirchia heaved a sigh of relief. She knew it. How could Lin Xian kill Merciless Tyrant? He couldn't even defeat the other party. However, she still said, "Thank you, Lin Gongzi, for helping." Lin Xian nodded. Then he asked, "How are your injuries?" "It's already under control. In a few days, it will be completely removed." "What about the agreement from before?" "Don't worry about that. I said that you saved my life, and the Rain Clan will thank you greatly. I heard you say that anything is fine. Are you sure you're telling the truth?" Lin Xian suddenly smiled and looked at her. Chapter 3578. Yushirchia felt Lin Xian's gaze, and her face immediately turned red. Could it be that this fellow had designs on her? Thinking of this, she subconsciously took 2 steps back, and then said in a low voice, "No matter if you want a cultivation method, secret manual, or heavenly treasure, I can get it for you." Lin Xian nodded again, and then said with a smile, "Don't worry, I'm not a bad person, but the most important thing right now was to think about how to leave this place. At the very least, how to reach the second astral realm." Seeing Lin Xian not do anything out of the ordinary, Yushirchia let out a sigh of relief. She said, "This is indeed a rather troublesome matter. My Rain Clan's decree is damaged, or else I wouldn't have been forced to descend here. It's extremely difficult to cross the death zone with just the 2 of us. It's simply a 9 out of 10 chance of dying." Rain Clan's decree, what was that? Lin Xian was shocked. From her tone, it seemed that as long as that thing wasn't damaged, they could leave this place. "It's a treasure of my Rain Clan, and also my most precious treasure." As she spoke, she took out a scroll. It was a simple and unadorned scroll. There were a few cracks on it, indicating that it was damaged. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and He Shan was shocked. "Kid, take it out and let me see." Hearing this, Lin Xian's brows twitched. "Could it be something good?" he said. "Can I see it?" "Okay." Yushirchia handed it over. Lin Xian opened it, and found that it was an extremely ancient scroll. It wasn't big, only the size of 2 palms. There were heavenly Tao patterns carved on it. But this wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that there was a simple word in the middle of the decree. He didn't recognize it, but felt that it was a rune. Great Tao rune? It was too simple, just a few strokes. What was this? He was shocked, but he didn't show it. He secretly asked, "Hey Shan, do you know what this is?" This should be the word on the Tao scripture. The Rain clan wasn't ordinary. To actually be able to obtain the words on the Tao scripture, Lin Xian was shocked. Tao scripture, what was that? This was a very ancient scripture. Every word contained the great Tao of heaven and earth. It was said that it had already been lost. Only a few scattered characters were left behind in the myriad worlds. Who would have thought that the Rain clan would actually have a character in their hands? No wonder he could escape the pursuit of the bewilderment fog ship. Hearing this explanation, Lin Xian was also greatly surprised. It seemed that this item was very precious. He asked, Black Mountain, can you repair it? Sure. Black Mountain took a look and said, the damage isn't that bad. The core isn't damaged, so I can repair it. Kid, you can negotiate with her now. Lin Xian nodded, indicating that he understood. Then he raised his head to look at Yushir Chia. I can fix your decree. You can fix it. Yushir Chia was stunned. She couldn't believe it. The decree was a very miraculous magic treasure. Although it was not a sacred artifact, it was superior to a sacred artifact. Really? That's great. Yushir Chia was excited. Lin Xian said, don't get too excited. I have a condition. Didn't you say that you would agree to any condition since I saved you? That's good. You can give me the decree. This way, it can be considered as repaying me for saving your life. I can also fix this decree. Next, I'll take you away and return to the second astral realm. What do you think? Give it to you? Yushir Chia was stunned. She didn't expect Lin Xian to want this thing. To be honest, she hesitated. This thing was very precious. Even in the Rain clan, there weren't many of them. It was also a treasure in her hands. Now, she wanted to give it to someone else? She was unwilling, but there was no other way. She had already promised the other party before, and the other party had indeed saved her life. Moreover, now that the decree was broken, it was a piece of trash in her hands. But in the other party's hands, it could be repaired. Thinking about it, Yushir Chia decided to save her life. She nodded and said, Okay. Then you can recover here for a while. I'll repair it. Lin Xian stood up and walked into the distance. In the following days, Yushir Chia began to recover. As for Lin Xian, he began to repair the decree with Black Mountain. After about 20 days, the decree was repaired. When Lin Xian took it, Yushir Chia was very surprised. Then, under Lin Xian's suggestion, Yushir Chia removed her soul imprint on it. Then, she let Lin Xian plant his soul imprint on it. Then, she told him how to use it. Lin Xian took it and cultivated for 2 days. Then, he said that they could go on their way. This decree was indeed magical. Under Lin Xian's control, it was like a spirit boat. The ancient scripture characters on it flickered with light. The great Tao of heaven and earth formed rain that wrapped around them. Lin Xian felt that this rain was very magical. It could nourish all things and provide a strong vitality. No wonder the other party could travel so quickly in the fog of death. They even avoided the fog ship's pursuit. Yushir Chia had a chaos armor on her. Lin Xian didn't have it. He didn't need to use it, but in order not to attract attention, he still got a set. This set was obtained from the middle-aged woman. After he put it on, he and Yushir Chia set off. They left the world of death and entered the fog of death. They began their long journey through time. After about half a year, Yushir Chia stood up and looked ahead, revealing a hint of excitement. She felt the aura of their world. Have we arrived? Lin Xian asked. Soon, they would arrive in a month. Yushir Chia was anxious. To be honest, this adventure was really too thrilling. Originally, she thought that if she kept a low profile, no one would be able to recognize her. Although she discovered that someone was following her in the first astral realm, she completely relaxed when she boarded the Milky Way. Who would have thought that the Milky Way would be intercepted by the demon star? What followed was a life and death escape. She was chased by Poison Hand and even betrayed by her own people. In the end, she was poisoned and narrowly escaped death. Just as she was about to fall into the hands of Poison Hand, she didn't expect to be saved by Lin Xian. At that moment, Lin Xian was like a god. In the following days, she was also on tenterhooks, afraid that the people of the demon star would kill her. But fortunately, they finally arrived at their world. The Rain Clan's sphere of influence was very large and controlled 2 worlds. This strength far surpassed those of the families and sects in the first astral realm. After flying for another 10 days, even Lin Xian was curious. He discovered that this 2-star realm was indeed extraordinary. Compared to the first astral realm, it was unknown how much more brilliant it was. Especially the use of the universe's starry sky. It was simply too exquisite. The first astral realm was dominated by its own star world. There were basically very few people in the outer realm. Even if there were, it was a battle between saints or just passing by. But it was different here. The outer realm's starry sky was completely used. All sorts of formations were set up to form a huge star field. Here, the world looked like a city. The universe was the most vast. So when they arrived nearby, Lin Xian saw that there were many people in the surrounding void of the universe. When those people saw someone flying over, they also turned their heads to look. The next moment, they exclaimed. That was the Rain Clan's decree. It was Yu Shirqia. Chapter 3579. What? The little princess of the Yu clan? Many people exclaimed. That's right. It must be her. That was the decree of the Rain Clan. Everyone focused and looked over. Sure enough, they discovered that amidst the light of the endless rain, there was a charming figure. There was another person standing beside Yu Shirqia, and it was a man. Everyone was surprised. What was going on? Rumor had it that Yu Shirqia was very cold. Although her bloodline was amazing and attracted countless geniuses to pursue her, but she didn't seem to have clearly expressed who she wanted to be with. Usually, other than her own clansmen, she would rarely be alone with a strange man. This time, the 2 of them were riding the decree together and flying in the sky. Were they traveling together? Could it be that Yu Shirqia had a sweetheart? No way. Who was so fast? Who got Fairy Yu's heart? Screams sounded one after another. Some people were also interested. This was going to be fun. The people who pursued Yu Shirqia were lined up to the end of the world. They didn't know how those people would react when they saw this scene. There would probably be a big storm. They didn't know who that kid was and whether he could withstand the anger of those pursuers. In the midst of everyone's discussion, the decree of the Rain Clan streaked across the sky and flew into the distance. Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect this star field to be so prosperous. After flying for about 5 days, Yu Shirqia said that it was in front. Lin Xian raised his head and saw 2 blue stars in front of him. These 2 stars were the Rain Clans. These 2 stars were called the Double Rain Star. Finally, they had arrived. Lin Xian came to the Double Rain Star and stopped first. Then, he said, Fairy Yu, my promise has finally been completed. I've sent you safely. Why don't we part here? I still have some things to do. You're talking about the matter of the sacred city accepting disciples, right? No need to rush. There's still some time. Besides, we're already here. Why don't you follow me back to the clan and let me treat you well? After all, you saved my life. Besides, with the power of the Yu clan, they can help you gather some information about the sacred city. Lin Xian thought about it and then nodded. All right, since it's like this, then I'll bother you. The 2 of them flew toward the star below. The moment they entered the dual rain planet, there were countless exclamations. Sis, you're back. It's Sis. Sis is finally back. Sis, you don't know how worried we are. Voices could be heard one after another. Yu Shirqia nodded and greeted them along the way. These were her clansmen. All of a sudden, the void shattered as 4 powerful figures descended from the sky. Lin Xian felt his hair stand on end. He was secretly shocked. Little saint. That's right. The 4 figures that appeared were 4 small saints. When they arrived, they looked at Yu Shirqia. Sis, you're finally back. How could you leave without saying a word? If something happened outside, how would we explain it? The patriarch has been looking for you. You should hurry over. Yu Shirqia had an apologetic look on her face. She said, I'll go apologize to the old ancestor right now. The 4 minor saints nodded and prepared to teleport away. However, at this moment, they saw Lin Xian and frowned. Sis, who is this person? There was a trace of sharpness in their eyes. Their house-used little princess had never been alone with a stranger before. This made them suspicious. On the way back, I did encounter some danger and almost lost my life. It was this Lin Gongzi who saved me. He is my savior. My savior. I almost lost my life. The expressions of the four little saints changed instantly. What was going on? They were too shocked. Yu Shijie said, "Don't worry, elders. I'm back. We'll talk about the details later." As she spoke, she turned to look at Lin Xian. "Lin Gongzi, I'll go see the old ancestor first. I'll have someone take care of you first. When I'm done here, I'll come see you." With that, Yu Shijie began to give orders to her subordinates. Immediately, a few maidservants came to receive Lin Xian. Yu Shijie and the four small saints broke through the void and teleported away. The news spread like wildfire. Yu Shijie's return made the Rain clan completely relieved. She was the pride of their family. Nothing could happen to her. They had been in a state of panic before. They even sent people to search everywhere, but there was no trace of her. They didn't expect Yu Shijie to go to the first astral realm. During this time, there was danger. It shocked them beyond belief. But fortunately, she came back safely in the end. This made them completely relieved. However, at the same time, they were even more curious. This time, Yu Shijie brought a man with her. A strange man. It was really too unbelievable. Who was he? In an instant, it attracted the attention of countless people. On Lin Xian's side, 3 maidservants brought him to a valley. Inside the valley, spring water gurgled, birds sang, and flowers bloomed. It was a scene of immortals. Lin Xian originally thought that he would wait quietly, but he didn't expect that the peace would be broken so quickly. Many people flew over from afar and landed in the valley. Someone stepped into the void and asked condescendingly, "Kid, who are you? Why are you with the little princess?" There was a trace of coldness in their eyes. The little maidservant beside them hurriedly said, "Don't mess around. This is Lin Gongzi. The young miss ordered us to treat him well." Lin Gongzi? The surrounding people frowned. The Lin family? Was there a powerful Lin family in the second astral realm? The Lin family did, but they didn't have the qualifications to be compared to them. They thought about it and realized that there really wasn't a Lin family that could compare to their Rain clan. This made them even more curious. Who was the other party? Could it be that he wasn't a member of the family, but a sect? They had to figure out the other party's identity. Otherwise, how could a stranger be qualified to stand with their Yu family's little princess? Therefore, someone continued to ask, "Kid, who are you?" In response to this answer, Lin Xian only said one sentence. "My surname is Lin. I'm a member of the Lin family." What he said was true, but the people around him were indeed stunned. Lin family, damn it, which Lin family was it? Could it be that it really was one of those lowly Lin families? Humph, they snorted coldly. If it was really that family, they didn't have the qualifications to come here. Seeing the surrounding people discussing animatedly, Lin Xian also frowned. The 3 maidservants said, "You have to leave quickly. Lin Gongzi just rushed over and needs to rest." It was better not to disturb him. "Even you 3 lowly maidservants dare to control us?" The surrounding people sneered and ignored them. These were just 3 maidservants. Although they were maidservants by Yu Shi's side, so what? Maidservants were still maidservants. Therefore, they ignored them. Today, they had to figure out who this person was. Among them, there were not only people from the Rain clan, but also people from other families. After all, there were many suitors here. Therefore, how could they not be anxious? Chapter 3580. Lin Xian couldn't be bothered with him. He sat there, unperturbed. He didn't seem to care at all. His attitude infuriated the surrounding people even more. F***ck. How dare he pretend in front of them? He really didn't know what was good for him. Someone immediately stepped forward with a cold smile. "It seems that this brother is very arrogant. Since you don't want to tell us, we can only test you ourselves. Stand up and fight with me. I guarantee that I can guess your sect and clan within 3 moves." This person was very confident. After all, these people had extraordinary backgrounds and broad horizons. They couldn't be more familiar with the ultimate techniques and divine powers of the major sects and clans. Therefore, they could guess the other party's identity after a simple exchange of blows. When the others heard this, they all nodded. Indeed, they could also tell. When they saw the person who spoke, their hearts trembled. It seemed that there would be a good show to watch because the man who spoke was a very powerful suitor. His status and position were very high. Previously, he had always thought that only he was worthy of Ushertia. Now that a strange man had suddenly appeared, how could he not be angry? It was Brother Jean? Haha, it seemed that Jean Yunfei couldn't wait any longer. But that was good. Jean Yunfei was powerful. With his help, they could quickly figure out the other party's identity. The others also nodded. Jean Yunfei's lips curled into a cold smile. A shocking murderous intent flashed in his eyes, but he quickly hid it. Just as the surrounding people had said, his identity was indeed extraordinary. Moreover, his talent and strength were very dazzling. In his opinion, only he was worthy of Ushertia. Who was the other party? He was just an ant who didn't know what was good for him. Kid, let me see what capabilities you have to be able to stand beside Fairy Rain. Jean Yunfei's lips curled into a cold smile. With a wave of his arm, a ray of light flew out. This was just a casual attack, but its power was incomparably terrifying. Terrifying Dao inscriptions appeared on the light. With terrifying power, it slashed forward. As soon as he attacked, the surrounding people cried out in alarm. In the valley, the three little handmaidens were also stunned. They didn't expect Jean Yunfei to dare attack. They couldn't afford to offend such a person. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't stop him. The power of this move could instantly kill them, so they could only retreat in fear. Lin Xian also frowned. Who was this guy? How could he attack just because he said so? No matter what, he had saved Ushertia. He was an honored guest of the Rain Clan. These people from the Rain Clan casually attacked him. Furthermore, when they attacked, it was such a bitingly cold killing move. A trace of anger arose in his heart. A pair of black and white wings appeared on his back. With a light flap, he moved horizontally across the void and dodged the attack. Boom! The space he was originally in shattered, and a terrifying crack appeared. He dodged it. Many people cried out in surprise. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be able to dodge it so easily. However, some people were smiling coldly. How was that possible? That was Jean Yunfei. He wasn't an ordinary cultivator. As soon as he finished speaking, the blue light with the Dao pattern flew up again. It drew a strange arc in the air and charged directly at Lin Xian. This time, his target was Lin Xian's neck. Heavenly Cloud Indestructible Slash. This was Jean Yunfei's specialty. Once it was used, it wouldn't stop until it was stained with the enemy's blood. This Jean Yunfei was actually so heavy-handed. It was nothing. This was just a casual attack. If that brat was killed, it could only be said that his strength was too weak and his skill was inferior. Lin Xian's face darkened. He didn't expect that the other party would dare to attack him after missing his first attack. Did they really think he was a soft persimmon? He just came to the Rain Clan and didn't want to show off too much. After all, he was a guest. However, now that someone had repeatedly threatened his life, the situation was different. With a cold snort, this time, Lin Xian didn't dodge at all. Instead, a trace of golden light circulated around his body. He stretched out his palm and gently waved it in front of him. This brat wanted to resist the Heavenly Cloud Indestructible Slash? What an idiot. What was Brother Jean's strength? He was definitely going to die. Under the mocking gaze of the crowd, Lin Xian activated Stellar Transposition. Originally, the crowd thought that there would be an intense collision. However, they discovered that when Lin Xian waved his palm, the blue light blade strangely turned in an arc. It attacked Jean Yunfei from an inconceivable angle. Hua! The crowd was in an uproar. What kind of divine ability was this? They had never seen it before. Jean Yunfei was also stunned. He instantly formed a seal with his palm, and the light blade disappeared into the void. His gaze was a little uncertain. Obviously, he did not expect this to happen. The surrounding people were discussing spiritedly. What kind of divine ability was that? Did you know? Never heard of it. How did he change the direction of the attack? This brat was a bit strange. Quickly, look at his cultivation. Someone was shocked. Whoosh. The crowd checked one after another and was stunned. A first heaven sage. How was this possible? A person at the first celestial layer was not considered a genius here. After all, there were too many heaven stage cultivators in the second astral realm. For example, Zhang Yunfei was a third heaven sage. There were also a few third heaven sages around him. A first heaven sage was nothing in front of them. Was such a person qualified to stand beside Yushirchia? What kind of joke was this? Zhang Yunfei was also stunned. A first heaven ant? He had thought that it was some expert. He didn't expect it to be a piece of trash. Humph. Is a piece of trash like you worthy to stand beside Fairy? I advise you to get out of here obediently. Otherwise, you'll end up very badly. After Lin Xian heard that, he frowned and looked at the other party. It was a very handsome man with outstanding features. However, his expression was very arrogant. He also smiled. Who do you think you are? How dare you criticize me? You're courting death. Zhang Yunfei roared angrily. The others were also going crazy. What was the other party saying? How dare he scold Zhang Yunfei? Did he want to die? Who was Zhang Yunfei? A first heaven stage ant dared to talk to him like that? However, Lin Xian didn't care. He said faintly, "Let me ask you, are you from House Yu?" "I'm not." Zhang Yunfei snorted. Lin Xian smiled. "Since you're not, then what right do you have to criticize me in House Yu's territory? Do you know who I am? Do you know my relationship with House Yu? You didn't know anything, and you attacked me so impatiently. I can only say that you're a brainless idiot." Everyone spat. This kid really dared to talk back to Zhang Yunfei? What an eye-opener. Zhang Yunfei was trembling with anger. No one had ever dared to talk to him like that. Moreover, the other party was just a first heaven ant. He was so angry that he laughed. "Then let me see who you are." With that, a blue light blade appeared in his hand. The terrifying Dao patterns on it kept surging. Wong wong wong. His fingers moved, and two light blades flew out. One left and one right. It was even more terrifying than before. Chapter 3581. Lin Xian sneered. Since the other party didn't know what was good for him, then he shouldn't blame him. He drew circles with his hands and executed stellar transposition, causing the two light blades to fly backward again. At the same time, he also unleashed a terrifying light. The five-colored light formed a five-elements mountain that descended from the sky. It pressed down on the other party. The void collapsed, and the terrifying power made people look up. The three maids were already scared out of their wits. They didn't expect that both parties would really fight. "Stop it!" They screamed and tried to stop it, but their voices were drowned out by the terrifying thunder. Everyone exclaimed. They didn't expect Lin Xian's counterattack to be so fierce. In an instant, danger came to Zhang Yunfei. Zhang Yunfei sneered. This kind of danger was nothing to him. He waved his hand and controlled his two light blades. He was even more disdainful of the five elements mountain above his head. Boom! A terrifying power of the laws surged, trying to shatter the five elements mountain. However, as soon as he moved, the five elements mountain above his head suddenly exploded. The terrifying power of the five elements turned into a storm and shrouded the area. Not good. This kid dares to play dirty. Everyone screamed and quickly left. Zhang Yunfei also let out a roar. Countless cracks appeared and devoured the power of the five elements. Zhang Yunfei walked out. His expression was extremely gloomy. Although the previous attack didn't injure him, it made him look extremely miserable. It didn't match his usual handsome image at all. Damn kid. How dare he play dirty? He was so angry that his body trembled, and he stared at Lin Xian. "Do you want to die? You've attacked twice, but you didn't gain any advantage. Instead, you suffered losses. I really wonder how much of your cultivation base of the third celestial layer is fake." Lin Xian shook his head. He originally thought that the genius of the second astral realm was very powerful, but now it seemed that he was just SOSO. Was he looking down on Zhang Yunfei? The surrounding people went crazy. Zhang Yunfei's face was extremely cold. "How dare you look down on me? You're courting death. I was just playing with you before, but since you dare to say such things, you're definitely going to die. Next, I will show you my true strength." Endless radiance appeared on his body as the great Tao of heaven and earth surged before him. Behind him, a vision of heaven and earth formed, and a terrifying aura surged into the vast wilderness. At this moment, everyone was shocked. It seemed like Zhang Yunfei was really angry. Was he going to use his full strength to kill his opponent? That kid was dead for sure. That was because no matter how much an ant of the first celestial layer tried to escape, he would never be able to escape from Zhang Yunfei's palm. Moreover, he was the one who was courting death. His strength wasn't enough, yet he dared to have designs on Yushirchia. Wasn't he tired of living? Oh, did he use his power? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes as he sensed the terrifying power of heaven and earth around him. He had to admit that this guy had some strength, but that was all. Plus, he had a strange feeling in his heart. Logically speaking, he saved Yushirchia, and as an honored guest of House Yu, he should be treated with the utmost respect. Such a world-shaking law of heaven and earth should have long alarmed the experts of the Rain Clan. Furthermore, in the surroundings, there were many Rain Clan's martial artists that were watching. Yet, no one came out to stop him. This was too strange. This didn't seem like an honored guest at all. Instead, it seemed like they were trying to intimidate him. Rain Clan, don't disappoint me. He snorted coldly in his heart. He knew he had to make a move now to intimidate the people here. He stretched out his hand, and a terrifying aura appeared. The Taiji diagram in his body circulated, and the power of yin and yang rotated around him. He crossed his arms, and a mysterious aura filled the air. Seeing that a great battle was about to break out, everyone's hearts tensed. At the same time, Yushirchia was following four little saints into a palace on planet Twin Rains, a place filled with immortals. The palace was very strange. It floated above a lake. The lake was very large and very blue. It was like a piece of sapphire. Yushirchia walked on it, causing countless ripples. Inside the palace, there was an old man in a water-blue robe. His eyes flickered, and stars flickered as if they could pierce through the void and look at the other side of the palace. In front of him stood Yushirchia. The four little saints were waiting outside. Yushirchia looked at the old man in front of her, feeling nervous. This was their patriarch, as well as their old ancestor. After a while, the old ancestor retracted his gaze. The young man you brought is not simple. Where did he come from? He came from the first astral realm, and came here on the bewilderment ship. Yushirchia recounted her experience in detail. Yushirchia didn't know much about Lin Xian's identity. She only knew that he was called Lin Xian, and that he had the nickname of Invincible Lin. He was very famous in the first astral tribulation. He was a peak genius. Invincible? The old man laughed coldly, his eyes filled with disdain. A first-level celestial realm ant dared to call himself invincible? Even House Yu didn't dare. So he came from the first astral tribulation. No wonder he was so arrogant. However, he was only at the second astral realm. He would soon despair. Every single one of the geniuses here could surpass him. Old ancestor, don't underestimate him. He's very powerful. Many people in the first astral realm are afraid of him. Yushirchia said. You said it yourself. It's just the first astral realm. Compared to here, it's too weak. The old ancestor shook his head and suddenly looked at Yushirchia. You seem to think highly of him. Could it be that you've fallen for him? Yushirchia blushed and lowered her head. Old ancestor, don't make fun of me. Seeing Yushirchia's shy appearance, the old man's eyes flashed with killing intent, but it disappeared in an instant. He said calmly. He couldn't tell that this brat was quite astute. Even you were tricked by him. Yushirchia looked up. Old ancestor, what do you mean by that? The old ancestor said faintly. You're so arrogant. There are so many geniuses in the second star boundary who are pursuing you, but none of them can catch your eye. Now, you've actually developed feelings for a first-level celestial. Don't you think it's strange? Lin Gongzi saved me. Of course I'm grateful to him. Yes, he saved you. The old man laughed coldly. You said it yourself. In the world of death, there were only the two of you. Back then, you were poisoned. He saved you, but he didn't fall for you. He even deliberately kept a distance from you. Do you think he's very gentlemanly? Plus, he saved your life, which made you happy. Do you think he's the gentlemanly one? You've been tricked by him. This was all set up by this kid. What? That's impossible. Yu Shijie was shocked. She never thought of this. Chapter 3582. The old man continued. Moreover, what you said is very suspicious. No matter how powerful he is, he's only at the first layer of heaven. Do you think he can defeat Poison Hand from Demon Island? But why was it that when the two of them reached the ninth heaven, only that kid returned? Where's Poison Hand? Is he really dead? Did you see his body? Did you see it with your own eyes? Yu Shijie's forehead was covered in cold sweat. I was very weak at the time, and there was the fog of death. I couldn't see clearly. Isn't that the end of it? You couldn't see clearly, so you believed what he said? But what if he's in cahoots with Poison Hand? It can't be. It can't be. Yu Shijie exclaimed. However, the old man sneered. How can it not be? You're too naive. You don't know how sinister people can be. Think about it. That kid is only at the first layer of heaven. How can he defeat Poison Hand, who is at the third layer of heaven? It's simply impossible. Yu Shijie was silent. She couldn't understand this matter either. Now that her ancestor said this, it made her suspicious. Could it be that the other party had approached her with a motive to steal her heart? If that was the case, then the other party's intentions were too evil. Sister, don't be so naive. That kid definitely doesn't have good intentions. At this moment, another voice was heard. A very handsome man walked in. He looked even younger than Yu Shijie. Yu Shijie turned her head and said in surprise, Brother, you're here too. Sister, I've heard about what you just said. This is clearly a trap. Don't be fooled by them. That kid definitely covets your identity and bloodline. Otherwise, how can you explain how he could defeat Poison Hand? Even if Poison Hand was killed by the fog of death, why would that kid appear in front of you? You were able to leave the fog ship because of the chaotic earth, but that kid didn't. How did he escape the pursuit of the demon planet? Have you thought of this? Yu Shijie's body shook. That's right. She really hadn't thought of this. How did the other party escape? Could it be that he really knew someone from the demon planet and colluded with them? Thinking of this, her heart gradually turned cold. She had been tricked. Seeing this, the old man smiled. He knew that Yu Shijie believed them. He looked at the young man again. That young man said, What an audacious fellow. He actually dares to have designs on my sister. I will definitely not let him off. Indeed, such people were very dangerous. The old man shook his head. Yu Shijie came back to her senses. Was she going to attack him? However, he did save my life. If we attack him, won't we be biting the hand that feeds us? Don't worry. House Yu is magnanimous. We won't lower ourselves to his level. But for your safety, he can't stay here any longer. He had to leave as soon as possible. Don't come into contact with him in the future. With that, he glanced at the youth once more. It was Qinya who had sent him away. Since he saved your sister, we will give him the corresponding benefits. But that's all. Do you understand? Don't worry, ancestor, I understand. Yu Qinya nodded and prepared to leave. Yu Shijie said, I'll go with you. She was still worried. However, she had already believed the words of the ancestor and her younger brother from the bottom of her heart. All right, then we'll go together. Yu Qinya nodded, and the two walked out side by side. When they arrived at the valley, they saw that the laws of heaven and earth filled the valley. Lin Xian and Zhang Yunfei were about to attack. Seeing this, Yu Qinya's lips curled up in disdain. A piece of trash dared to attack Zhang Yunfei. Yu Shijie, on the side, shouted, Stop! Hearing this, the people in the valley all turned to look. In the next moment, they all cried out in surprise. Yu Shijie had come. Greetings, young master. Greetings, sister. Zhang Yunfei also retracted the laws of heaven and earth. So it was Fairy Rain and young master Qinya. Lin Xian also retracted his aura and looked into the distance. He saw a young man beside Yu Shijie. That young man was very cold and seemed to be a young master of the Rain clan. Moreover, His relationship with Yu Shijie was not ordinary. Brat, for Fairy Rain's sake, I won't attack you today. However, if I see you again, don't blame me for being impolite. Humph. Lin Xian snorted. He really did not put the other in his eyes. The others looked at each other. They did not expect the two to stop at the most crucial moment. It was really disappointing. However, at this time, Yu Qinya spoke. He went to the valley below and looked at Lin Xian. You're the one who sent my sister back? That's right. Lin Xian nodded. It really is you. Yu Qinya waved his hand, and a servant beside him walked over. He handed over a storage ring. Yu Qinya pointed at the storage ring. Thank you for sending my sister back. My Yu clan is very grateful. Here are 50,000 kilograms of divine crystals and 10 bottles of pills. Hurry up and leave after you take the things. Once these words were said, the crowd began to discuss. Lin Xian frowned. Looking at the other's attitude, it seemed that he was not very friendly. Moreover, he wanted to thank him with this little thing? To be honest, Lin Xian did not believe it. One had to know that the entrance ticket for the fog ship was 10,000 kilograms of divine crystals. Now, the other party only gave 50,000? Too insincere. What was going on? He was not too sure, but he said that he did not need these things. He really did not need these things because his deal with Yu Shijie had been completed. That was the Rain Clan's decree. However, this thing was not in his hands now. Because when he came, 4 minor saints suddenly appeared, which surprised Lin Xian. When the 4 minor saints left, not only did they take Yu Shijie away, they also took the decree with them. Therefore, Lin Xian now saw that the other party's attitude was not right. He only wanted to take back the decree. As for the things that the other party gave, to be honest, it really made him a little disappointed. Those things were really pitifully little. Hearing that Lin Xian did not want it, the surrounding people were stunned. Yu Qinya's face darkened. What? Lin Gongzi did not like these things? Or did he have other motives? There was a trace of coldness in this voice. It was obvious that the other party was warning him. The others were also discussing. This kid did not know what was good for him, right? He actually dared to reject young Master Qinya's things? That's right. Who did he think he was? The Yu clan gave him face by giving him something. He actually dared to reject it. He really did not know what was good for him. I feel that he must have some ulterior motives. He must be having designs on Fairy Rain. With just him? A toad wants to eat swan meat. A series of mocking voices could be heard. Chapter 3583. Yu Qinya put his hands behind his back and said proudly, Kid, I know what you're thinking. But now, I can tell you clearly, there's no such thing. Recognize your own identity. I hope you don't make a mistake. Lin Xian's face also darkened. There was a trace of impatience in his heart. It seemed that the Rain Clan's attitude was very unfriendly. Previously, when he fought with that person, the Rain Clan didn't come out. This made him a little angry. However, he didn't say much. Now, a young master of the Rain Clan warned him in front of everyone. The meaning was different. The young master of the Rain Clan definitely wouldn't speak carelessly. Perhaps he represented the will of the Rain Clan. The Rain Clan was warning him. Thinking of this, Lin Xian's face darkened. He didn't pay attention to Yu Qinya. Instead, he looked at Yu Shijie and asked in a deep voice, Then, what do you think? Being questioned by Lin Xian, Yu Shijie became nervous. However, when she thought of the words of her old ancestor, her heart also became cold. She said coldly, I thank Lin Gongzi for escorting me back. However, after all, our identities are different. I hope that Lin Gongzi can take these things and leave as soon as possible. Hearing this, the surrounding people all sneered. They knew that Yu Shijie was drawing a clear line between them. After Lin Xian heard this, he was stunned. Then, he laughed loudly. His heart gradually became cold. Very good. Your words let me see a person clearly. Since it's like this, we have nothing to say. It's best if there's nothing to say. Lin Gongzi, please. Yu Qinya's voice was cold. Lin Xian said, I can leave. However, return the things to me first. Things? What things? Everyone was stunned. Yu Shijie's face changed. Lin Xian continued. You Xianzi, we agreed before. I will save your life and escort you back to your clan. You will give me the decree of the Rain clan. You didn't forget this, right? What? There was actually such a thing? Everyone was in an uproar. Even Yu Qinya was stunned. He didn't know about this. Yu Shiqia's face changed. What? You don't want to give it to me? Or are you going back on your words? Humph. Yu Qinya roared in anger. Damn it, little brat. You really are scheming something. You actually dare to covet my decree. The others also had murderous looks in their eyes. Lin Xian laughed. Me? Coveting your clan's decree? What a joke. Ask Yu Shiqia what the situation was like back then. Back then, the deal was made willingly by both sides. Did I ever force her? Moreover, the decree from back then was already damaged. If I didn't repair it, it would be a piece of trash. It was completely useless. I was the one who repaired the decree, and then escorted your Rain clan's princess back. I hope you can understand this point clearly. Damn it, how is this possible? You think you can make decrees? That's right. You must have used despicable means to coerce Fairy Rain. Screams and roars rang out one after another. They really couldn't believe it. Yu Qinya's face was even more gloomy. He couldn't wait to kill this brat in front of him. Yu Shiqia didn't say a word. Lin Xian didn't care about the threats around him. He stared at Yu Shiqia. What? Can't say anything? Or do you feel guilty? No more logical laws pulsed in his hand. Do you want me to use an array to recreate the scene back then? No need. Yu Shiqia sighed. I did say that. So, I will give you the decree. At this point, she waved her hand, took out a scroll, and threw it to Lin Xian. Everyone was stunned. Heavens, what's going on? The surrounding people were stunned. Even Yu Qinya was stunned. Sister, you can't do that. This is our clan's treasure. Brother, don't say any more. I did promise him this. I, Yu Shiqia, am a woman of my word. After saying this, she looked at Lin Xian again. I've already given you the thing. Hurry up and leave. After saying that, she turned and left. Lin Xian took the decree and said coldly, I escorted you back. You gave me the decree. This is right and proper. From now on, we are even. We don't owe each other anything. Yu Shiqia's body trembled, but in the end, she didn't look back. She directly walked into the distance and disappeared. The Rain clan's martial artists were murderous as they stared at Lin Xian. Yu Qinya's eyes were filled with a terrifying light. Lin Xian turned and said, What? Is this how you treat your savior? Let him go. Yu Qinya shouted coldly. Immediately, the crowd parted to form a path. Lin Xian strode away. After Lin Xian left, the surrounding people said, Young master, are you letting him leave just like that? That's right. This kid is too despicable. He actually dares to have ideas about our decree. Who does he think he is? We must catch him and tear him to pieces. Don't worry. I know what to do. My Rain clan's decree isn't so easy to take away. Yu Qinya's eyes carried a hint of biting cold killing intent. He looked at Zhang Yunfei and the rest and said indifferently, Don't know what trick this kid used to deceive my elder sister and snatch the decree. That thing is my elder sister's favorite treasure. If anyone can help me get it back, you'll definitely win my elder sister's heart. When these words came out, Zhang Yunfei and the rest's eyes also bloomed with light. Haha, young Master Qinya, don't worry. We'll help you with this small matter. As they spoke, several figures quickly tore through the void. It looked like they wanted to secretly get rid of Lin Xian and take back the decree. Looking at the cracked void, Yu Qinya laughed coldly. Going against my Rain clan, you really don't know life from death. On the other side, after Lin Xian got the scroll, he made a few seals and completely erased the aura on it. Then, he quickly threw a shield. His mood was somewhat gloomy. Chapter 3584. They realized that Lin Xian didn't run away at all. Instead, he stood in the starry sky outside the realm, waiting for them. Buzz. 3 silhouettes appeared behind him. They sneered as they surrounded Lin Xian. This scene astonished the martialists and sages from the outer world. What's going on? Is there a battle? Who is this person? Why is he being attacked by 3 people? He must have caused some big trouble. Discussions sounded. They realized that Lin Xian's face was very unfamiliar. However, when they saw the other people, they were extremely surprised. That was Zhang Yunfei. What? Zhang Yunfei? That's impossible. The young master of the Zhang family, a top genius? Why is he chasing after someone? Could it be that the enemy is very powerful? Sounds of discussion could be heard. When they saw the 2 people beside Zhang Yunfei, they sucked in a breath of cold air. Those 2 people were also the young masters of large families, top geniuses. 3 top geniuses working together. Who was the enemy? Was he an extremely terrifying veteran expert? They looked carefully, but soon, they were dumbfounded. A first heaven saint? How is that possible? What's going on? 3 young masters, top geniuses, working together to kill a first heaven saint? It's too unbelievable. These people were all stunned. Kid, do you think you can run? Zhang Yunfei sneered. Hand over the things obediently, then kneel down and accept your death. Threaten me? You think you can? Lin Xian sneered. He didn't care at all. What a reckless idiot. Where do you think you are? This is the 2nd astral plane. You're just a kid from the 1st astral realm. How dare you be arrogant in front of me? You might be very powerful in the 1st astral realm, but here, you can only crawl under our feet. One of the young masters walked out and said coldly. The other person also had a look of disdain in his eyes. They emitted a terrifying power of heaven and earth, forming a sacred domain that enveloped this part of the world. Facing such a terrifying scene, Lin Xian didn't retreat at all. He didn't make a move either. Instead, he said loudly, "Why? Did the Rain Clan send you? Was the Rain Clan going to repay kindness with enmity?" A dignified top-notch clan actually treated their benefactor in such a manner. It was truly shameful. This voice was like thunder, clearly passing through the sacred region and spreading in all directions. What was going on? When the surrounding sages heard this, they were stunned as well. The benefactor of the Rain Clan? Biting the hand that feeds him? What was going on? This brat looked a little familiar. Some people were puzzled. Suddenly, someone screamed. That's right, I saw him before. He was standing on the decree with Yushirchia. Was it someone close to Yushirchia? What was going on? He had heard that Yushirchia had returned from the 1st astral plane. During this period, he was even hunted down. She heard that there was an expert who sent her back. As for the 3 young masters, they were all so angry that they vomited blood. Especially Zhang Yunfei, whose face was incomparably gloomy. Damn, this brat was actually so eloquent. Brother Zhang, let's go together and kill him. Shut up. Zhang Yunfei roared angrily. Looking at his 2 companions beside him, he was so angry that he vomited blood. These 2 were really pig-like teammates. Don't act blindly without thinking. This matter was probably not going to be easy to handle. Indeed, if they had concealed their identities and secretly assassinated the other party, then it wouldn't have been a big deal even if the other party died. But now, the other party had revealed the cause and effect. How could they make a move? If they really killed the other party, then the Rain Clan would completely bear the reputation of biting the hand that fed them. This way, they would definitely be affected by other things. Although these great powers could cover the sky with one hand, they looked down on everything, but they still wanted face. If this matter was spread out, the Rain Clan's reputation in the 2nd astral realm would be completely destroyed. To a great family, reputation was more important than anything else. If they dared to ruin the Rain Clan's reputation, the Rain Clan would definitely fight them to the death. This was different from their original intention. Therefore, for a moment, the 3 of them were all stunned. They didn't know what to do. What's wrong? You don't dare to make a move? Is it because you have a conscience and want to turn over a new leaf? Or is it because the 3 of you feel that you're not my opponent? Don't worry, if you want to make a move, I'll only use one hand. Lin Xian sneered. He had an indifferent expression. Damn, brat, don't be so arrogant. If you have the ability, then let's have a fair fight. Chapter 3585. A fair fight? Lin Xian glanced at him. Fine. Suppress your cultivation to the first level, and we'll have a fair fight. If I can't torture you to death, my surname isn't Lin. That person was so angry that he couldn't speak. Suppressing his cultivation to fight with the other party? His brain was flooded with water. But he kept saying that it would be a fair fight. If he didn't suppress his cultivation, wouldn't that be slapping his own face? What? You don't dare to make a move. Since you don't have the ability, don't use the name of fairness. Otherwise, you'll be the one slapped in the face. Lin Xian sneered. The surrounding people were incomparably shocked. Who was this kid? He was too sharp-tongued. That's right. Originally, being besieged by 3 great experts was a sure-death situation, but he actually resolved the danger with just his mouth. What a genius. These people were all stunned. Zhang Yunfei and the other two's faces darkened. Embarrassing. It was really too embarrassing. Now, they wanted nothing more than to find a place to hide. They were originally full of confidence, thinking that killing the other party and taking back the decree would win Yushirchia's heart. Who would have thought that this matter would turn out to be a hot potato? Not only did they not kill anyone, but they were ridiculed instead. They were probably embarrassed to the core. Damn it, this kid. The 3 were so angry that their bodies trembled. All of them were actually here. At this moment, a voice came from afar. Everyone turned to look. Flowing light flickered in the distance. A few huge demon beasts were pulling a chariot, passing by quickly. Several figures stood on the chariot. They were all beautiful maids. Standing at the front was a handsome man. That person was Yu Qinya, the young master of the Yu family. Everyone exclaimed. Zhang Yunfei and the other 2 also turned to look. They were also stunned. Young Master Qinya, why are you here? Only Lin Xian sneered. He had the heavenly secret divine eye and had long discovered that the other party was hiding nearby. It seemed that he wanted to see if he was killed or not. Now that he saw that the situation was not right, he walked out. Indeed, although Yu Qinya had a smile on his face, he was extremely angry inside. Damn it, this Zhang Yunfei, didn't they say he was an expert? Why did he look like trash now? He was about to go mad with anger. He didn't think that Zhang Yunfei and the others would not only fail, but also cause House Yu's reputation to be in danger. If he couldn't explain it well, then his Rain Clan's reputation would be completely ruined. Who would dare to work with him in the future? Therefore, at this time, he could only come out to smooth things over. At least, he could resolve this crisis. Isn't that Lin Gongzi? Brother Zhan, are you guys chatting with Lin Gongzi? Zhang Yunfei was stunned at first, then they laughed and said, That's right, we were indeed discussing martial arts with Lin Gongzi. Initially, Zhang Xian and Zhang Xian had wanted to work together and spar with one another to resolve some problems in their cultivation. Who could have known that they would end up causing such a misunderstanding? Discuss martial arts and Tao? The corners of the mouths of the surrounding people twitched. F***ck. He was lying through his teeth. But who asked him to be so powerful? The surrounding people didn't dare to say anything. Humph. Lin Xian sneered. You want to discuss martial arts with me? Why don't I know? Why do I feel that the 3 of you want to assassinate me? Zhang Yunfei and the other 2's faces changed, then they laughed awkwardly. Lin Gongzi, you're overthinking. Why would we assassinate you? That's right, we were just chatting with you. Maybe the way we talked was wrong, which caused you to misunderstand. Since it's a misunderstanding, it's fine to explain it clearly. Brother Zhan, send Lin Gongzi properly. After all, he's our Rain Clan's guest. As Yu Qinya spoke, he gave a meaningful glance to the others. Zhang Yunfei expressed that he understood, then he laughed and said, Lin Gongzi, you just came to the 2nd astral realm, so you're definitely not familiar with the situation here. Why don't the 3 of us send you off? Yeah, where do you want to go? We'll personally escort you. The other 2 young masters also laughed, but in their eyes, there was a hint of coldness. They knew that it was impossible to make a move here. They couldn't make a move under the eyes of everyone. But if they brought Lin Xian to another place, the cold universe was very vast. There would always be a place without people. Once there, the other party wouldn't be able to escape. He would make the other party suffer a fate worse than death. Lin Xian's face sank, and there was a trace of monstrous anger in his eyes. What a Rain Clan! They really didn't give up. After failing to kill him, they actually wanted to make a move on him. Previously, he understood the other party's gaze with a glance. He sneered. Still want to make a move? Your Rain Clan? Do you really want to kill me? I don't know how I offended your Yu clan. Lin Gongzi misunderstood. We already said that it's a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding, right? 3/3 celestial layers teamed up to discuss martial arts with me. I don't know what you have to discuss with me. Your assassination failed, so you want to find an excuse to lure me to another place. Do you really think I'm an idiot? Or that you're all idiots? What do you mean? Are you doubting me? How can I make a move on you? Yu Qinya's face also fell. He already gave the other party enough face and did not shed all pretense of cordiality in public. But the other party actually still dared to question him. What kind of identity did he have? Was it something an ant could question? Between heaven and earth, the atmosphere instantly froze. The surrounding people did not even dare to breathe loudly, but Lin Xian did not care at all. What? You want to kill me, but I can't even question? The Rain Clan was really insolent, so arrogant. No wonder you all dared to do this. In the first star realm, I met your sister. Your sister was chased by the Fiend Planet's people along the way and was saved by me. I repaired your damaged decree and sent her back to your Rain Clan safely along the way. But what did your Rain Clan do? Just give me 50,000 caddies of divine crystals? Really extravagant. What? Yu Shirchia was chased by the Fiend Planet's people. The Rain Clan's decree was once damaged. Just gave the other party 50,000. If the matter was true, then this Rain Clan was really too trashy. One had to know, this was a life-saving grace, and the one saved was even Yu Shirchia. Even giving 5 million caddies was not excessive. But the other party actually only gave 50,000. This was simply stingy to the max. Shut up for me. Yu Qinya shouted angrily, his voice shaking the 9 heavens. Everyone's scalps went numb. Heaven and earth regained peace once again. What? Embarrassed? Flying into a rage out of humiliation? You also feel that giving 50,000 caddies is too little? Then why are you still so arrogant? Do you think that because I came from the first star realm, my strength is weak and I'm easy to bully? Or is it that you feel that your sister's life is only worth 50,000 divine crystals? Yu Qinya was angered until his entire body trembled. But very soon, he calmed down. His eyes blossomed with a strange light as he said in a clear voice, "A bunch of nonsense. My Rain Clan clearly gave the decree as a reward. That's our clan's supreme treasure. It's just that you're insatiably greedy. Not only do you covet the treasure, you even have ideas about my sister. That's why I chased you out. But you? Not only are you not grateful, you actually slandered our Rain Clan. Do you really think that our Rain Clan is easy to bully?" Chapter 3586. When these words came out, everyone was speechless again. Why was this version different from what the other party said? Yes, which of these two people was speaking the truth? Everyone was puzzled. Zhang Yunfei and the others' eyes lit up. As expected of the Rain Clan's young master, he was smart enough. In a few short sentences, the situation changed. They hurriedly said, "Yes, kid, you're too arrogant. We gave you many treasures and even gave you the Rain Clan's decree. How big of a favor is this? But you actually dared to have ideas about the Rain Clan's little sister. Do you have the qualifications? The one who forgets favors and violates justice is you. You actually dare to frame the Rain Clan. What crime do you deserve? The Rain Clan is magnanimous and doesn't want to kill you, but you actually don't know the difference between life and death." Voices quickly came one after another. Gradually, the people around him began to believe him. The way they looked at Lin Xian changed. Could it be that this kid was the main culprit? Yes, perhaps he really was too greedy. The Rain Clan was indeed merciful. Seeing the changes in the surrounding public opinion, Yu Qinya stood high above with a smile on his face. "Humph, kid. You're still too inexperienced to fight with me." Ha ha ha. Facing countless doubts, Lin Xian faced the sky and laughed. What a good method, worthy of being the Rain Clan's young master. You've indeed inherited your clan's despicable shamelessness. Your method of reversing black and white is much more powerful than your cultivation. You're actually pouring dirty water on me? You gave me countless treasures. May I ask where they are? You gave my Rain Clan's decree? Sorry, this decree was a fair exchange between me and your sister. It's not a gift from your Rain Clan. As he spoke, Lin Xian waved his hand. Countless laws danced, forming an illusion between heaven and earth. In the illusion, what appeared was the scene of the Rain Clan's valley. Among them, Lin Xian, Zhang Yunfei, Yu Qinya, and Yusiki's figures were all there. Yu Shiqia's voice came from inside. Brother, don't say any more. I indeed promised Lin Gongzi. I gave him the decree willingly. I, Yu Shiqia, am a woman of my word. After seeing this scene, the surrounding people all burst into an uproar. Fuck, it was actually the Rain Clan that willingly gave it to them. Damn it, I was almost tricked by this young master of House Yu. Everyone was shocked, and they looked at the Rain Clan with strange expressions. Yu Qinya's pupils also shrank. He didn't expect that the other party had actually used an array formation to record that scene. This caught him off guard. It was a slap in the face. Moreover, the other party had taken out evidence to slap them in the face. They had been slapped so hard that they couldn't retaliate at all. Lin Xian sneered. Why? Are you still giving it to me now? Where are the treasures that you gave me? Lin Xian's every word was like a slap to Yu Qinya's face, causing his face to turn green. The other party couldn't even speak. Furthermore, the illusion created by the formation was still continuing. After that, it was Yu Qinya who secretly instigated Zhang Yunfei and the others to assassinate Lin Xian. This scene was only halfway through when it was shattered by a ray of light. Yu Qinya came back to his senses. Damn it, because he was too angry just now, he almost let this scene spread. If this news were to spread, then his reputation would take a nosedive. Fortunately, at the critical moment, someone intervened. Who was it? He turned to look and saw a beautiful woman standing there. Sister, why are you here? Yu Qinya was shocked. Was Yu Shiqia here? Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. Yu Shiqia's expression was cold, and she didn't say a word. She really didn't expect that her brother would do such a thing. And from the looks of it, he had completely broken off with Lin Xian. Lin Gongzi, this matter was my brother's own initiative. I apologize on his behalf. After that, Yu Shiqia turned and left. Yu Qinya's expression also adjusted. He snorted and turned to leave. But at this time, Lin Xian said, Wait, what else do you want? Yu Qinya turned his head. His eyes seemed to be able to eat people. Lin Xian sneered. What's the matter? Since you said that you would give me a shocking treasure, then you have to keep your word. Otherwise, if you, the young master of the Yu clan, go back on your word, it won't be good for your clan's reputation. Damn brat, what did you say? Yu Qinya was so angry that he vomited blood. He originally just said it casually to frame the other party. He didn't expect that the other party actually dared to ask for it. What I said was naturally human language. Don't you understand? After all, I saved your sister, and you just agreed to give it to me. How about this? I won't make things difficult for you. With your Yu clan, such a top clan, plus your young master identity, casually giving me 5 million caddies of divine crystals is nothing. Yu Qinya directly vomited blood. Zhang Yunfei and the rest also felt their scalps go numb. The others almost fainted from fright. 5 million caddies of divine crystals? This was really an astronomical figure. Although in theory it should be so much, but to really give it, who would be willing to? The surrounding people also burst into an uproar. They didn't expect that Lin Xian really dared to ask for it. This brat, wasn't he afraid that he wouldn't have the life to take it? Brat, are you sure you have the life to spend 5 million caddies of divine crystals? Yu Qinya was already warning him. It was very obvious that he wanted to kill him. However, Lin Xian didn't care at all. Since he had already shed all pretense of cordiality with the other party, why not ruthlessly extort a sum? Therefore, he said that this matter didn't need young Master Yu to worry about it. What? Could it be that your clan can't even take out 5 million divine crystals? Since that's the case, What's the point of boasting? Apologize to me in public, and I can consider not taking it. Apologize in public? What a joke. Yuchinya wouldn't do that even if he was beaten to death. He was a proud person. Moreover, the other party already had such a relationship with their Rain clan. If he apologized, the elders and experts in the clan would probably kill him. He couldn't accept it in his heart. Therefore, he wanted. Fine. To our Rain clan, 5 million is indeed just a drizzle. Lin Gongzi, follow me back to the clan to get it. Follow you back? No need. Since it's nothing, why don't you carry it with you? Truly disappointing. How about this? I'll give you an incense stick's worth of time. Go back and get it. If you can't get it in an incense stick's worth of time, the strength of your Rain clan will make people worry. Lin Xian said indifferently with his hands behind his back, looking at the other party who was vomiting blood. What? Still not going? You really don't want to give it? Fine. I'll give it. I'll give it. Yuchinya clenched his teeth so hard that they almost broke. With a wave of his sleeve, he turned around and left. It seemed that today's matter couldn't be resolved. Then, he could only give the other party 5 million divine crystals. However, so what if he gave it to the other party? He dared to guarantee that the other party would have the life to take it, but would definitely not have the life to spend it. Young master, you really went back to get it? Heavens, this is a big matter. He had to see it with his own eyes. Not only did the surrounding people not leave, but they gathered even more. Who is this brat? He's simply a ruthless person. Hee. I reckon that his end will be very miserable. So what? At least he's famous today. Chapter 3587. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the 5 elemental law transformed into a throne. Then, he sat down directly. Then, he took out some spirit wine from his storage ring and began to taste it. He looked very relaxed as if he was on vacation. Everyone's eyes widened at the sight. Kid, you are about to die, but you still dare to be so arrogant. This might be your last sip of wine. Zhang Yunfei and the other two discussed for a while and walked up directly, their bodies emitting biting cold-killing intent. Lin Xian glanced at the 3 of them. You 3 lackeys, why didn't you leave with your master? Why are you still here? Do you want to fight with me? Lin Xian sneered. Damn it, I want you to die. Zhang Yunfei and the other 2 roared. Their killing intent swept through the 9 heavens, making people's scalps numb. He was also a dignified young master with an extraordinary status. How could he tolerate being humiliated consecutively at this moment? Therefore, he snorted coldly and said, Today's matter is between me and this kid. It has nothing to do with my family or the Rain clan. Today, I want to fight with him. Everyone felt their scalps numb. It seemed that Zhang Yunfei was going to attack without caring about anything. Many people sympathized with Lin Xian. He was really going to die. Attack without caring about anything? It sounded so nice, but wasn't it just shameless? Do you think you can beat me just because you are shameless? Die for me. Smoke rose from Zhang Yunfei's head, and a terrifying blue light blade swept through the 9 heavens. Heavenly Cloud Indestructible Slash. This was an extremely terrifying great divine ability that could kill a 3rd heaven saint, causing the surrounding onlookers to change their expressions. Zhang Yunfei was really angry to use such a great technique right from the start. That was for sure. No matter how powerful this kid's mouth was, his body and soul would definitely be destroyed. Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Do you really think I can't beat you? Fine. I will let you experience my methods today. He stood up, and his body emitted a golden light, illuminating the entire sky. Like a peerless god of war, he strode forward with large steps. Buzz. He punched out, and it was like the sun, fiercely hitting the blue light blade. Boom. An earth-shattering sound rang out. Then, the blue light blade was actually split into 2 from the middle. Everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. What? It was interrupted. Impossible. What was going on with this kid's physique? How could he be so strong? Was he really just a 1st heaven saint? At this moment, everyone went crazy. How could this be? Zhang Yunfei was also stunned. He couldn't believe it. What he unleashed was his ultimate divine ability, yet it was shattered by a single punch from the other party. This was simply like a dream. Why? Are you very surprised? Very surprised? Who do you think you are? You think a third celestial layer can kill me? What a joke. Lin Xian suddenly appeared in front of Zhang Yunfei. His golden palm slammed toward Zhang Yunfei. Boom. Countless blue Dao inscriptions appeared in front of Zhang Yunfei to block, but he was still sent flying. Next, Lin Xian basically chased after Zhang Yunfei. Everyone was dumbfounded. Was Zhang Yunfei being suppressed? Could it be that this young man was already so terrifying? Was he trying to defy the heavens? Zhang Yunfei was still recalling the shock just now. His mind was a little blank. Suddenly, his qi and blood rolled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He suddenly came back to his senses. How was this possible? He was being suppressed by the other party again. I don't believe it. With a roar, he activated his bloodline power, and his power skyrocketed. Instantly, a wave of air exploded, and the great Tao of heaven and earth kept rumbling. It directly forced Lin Xian back. Damn kid, you can actually break my sky cloud indestructible slash. This is really beyond my expectations. However, do you really think you can defeat me? You're too naive. Just now, I was just careless. Now, I'm going to use my bloodline power. Our Zhan family's bloodline is extremely powerful. Can you resist it? Carelessness? Is this your excuse? A third heaven saint could be chased by a first heaven saint just because he was careless? No one would believe this excuse of yours. Lin Xian sneered. Zhang Yunfei's face was gloomy. Kid, I'll let you see the true power of a third heaven. I'll let you know that you'll always be an ant in front of me. You want to use your realm to suppress me? You're too inexperienced. Lin Xian was disdainful. Let me tell you, I'm going to use my realm to suppress you. Not only my realm, but I'm also going to use my bloodline to suppress you. What can you do? I'll let you die in despair. Suppress me with your bloodline? Suppress me with your realm? You can actually say such shameless words in such a righteous manner. You're also a genius. But can you really suppress me? Don't you like to bully others? All right, I'll let you experience the same feeling. Black Mountain, you can come out and give him a surprise. Lin Xian transmitted his voice. Boom. Black Mountain released a demonic aura, causing a terrifying aura to appear on Lin Xian's body and spread in all directions. This aura was too terrifying. It had completely surpassed a third heaven saint. Moreover, it was still rising. The surrounding people all trembled and couldn't help but want to kneel down. Heavens, what kind of aura is this? Damn it, is he a minor saint? Everyone went crazy. Zhang Yunfei's body also trembled. Impossible, what's going on? He was so scared that his face turned pale, and he kept retreating. His body was trembling uncontrollably. Lin Xian's demonic aura soared into the sky, and his powerful aura swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Now, you're still using your third heaven cultivation to suppress me? Do you think your bloodline is strong in front of me? He walked forward step by step. Now, do you know the feeling of being suppressed by your realm? Do you feel despair? That's right. I'll make you feel despair for the rest of your life. Lin Xian attacked fiercely, and Zhang Yunfei kept vomiting blood. Originally, Zhang Yunfei's strength was very strong. Although he wasn't as strong as Lin Xian, he could still contend with him. But now, he was completely scared out of his wits. Lin Xian's aura was beyond his expectation. It was as if he wasn't facing a young man, but a minor saint. How could he still dare to attack? In an instant, his body exploded. Many of his bones were broken, and he vomited blood. In the end, he was suppressed in the void by Lin Xian's heavenly steel. Zhang Yunfei was suppressed. Everyone went crazy. The 2 young masters who were with Zhang Yunfei were also scared out of their wits. They turned around and ran away. But how could the 2 of them escape? Lin Xian attacked fiercely, and the 2 young masters didn't dare to fight back. Soon, his body was also blasted apart. Saint blood gushed out, and the 2 young masters lay on the ground like dead dogs. In a simple exchange of blows, Zhang Yunfei and the other 2 geniuses were completely defeated. Lin Xian's body was spotless. Once again, he sat down on the throne, picked up the spirit wine, took a sip, and nodded. Good wine. But the incense stick's time is almost up. Is Yuchinya still coming? He won't go back on his words, right? As soon as his voice fell, the few demonic beasts in the distance pulled the war chariot again. It seemed that Yuchinya had returned. Chapter 3588. After Yuchinya returned, he looked around at the shattered void and the sky full of blood. He was extremely shocked. When he saw the injured Zhang Yunfei and the two young masters, his pupils constricted. What's going on? What happened? Who was it that defeated them? Could it be that a peerless expert attacked them? He knew the strength of Zhang Yunfei and the other two. Moreover, the person who dared to attack Zhang Yunfei must have a terrifying status. He hurriedly asked, Brother Zhang, what happened to you? Who injured you? Zhang Yunfei and the other two climbed up from the ground, their bodies trembling. They looked at Lin Xian and kept vomiting blood. What? It was this kid who did it. Yuchinya did not believe that a level 1 ant could injure Zhang Yunfei and the other two. Oh, you ask what happened? After you left, the three of them wanted to discuss martial arts with me, so I taught them personally. Who knew that they were so useless? I was already very merciful, but they couldn't even withstand a single blow. I had no choice but to end up like this. Lin Xian shrugged, as if he expected better from them. This scene made Zhang Yunfei and the other two faint from anger. They had no choice. It was too embarrassing. It was really the other party who did it. Yuchinya was shocked. However, he did not believe that it was the other party's true strength. He guessed that something must have happened. He really had to investigate the other party carefully. At this moment, Lin Xian asked, By the way, did you bring the item? I brought it. Hearing this, Yuchinya's face darkened again. He tossed out a storage ring. Everything was inside. After saying that, he felt a little heartache. That was an astonishing amount of wealth. Even if it was him, he would not be able to take it out so easily. Lin Xian took it and probed it with his soul. Let me count it carefully. If there's a piece missing, I won't let you off. As he said that, he began to count with his soul 3 times and nodded in satisfaction. Not bad, 5 million caddies. Just right. I'll accept it then. After saying that, Lin Xian turned around and was about to leave. Yuchinya spoke again. Lin Gongzi. What? Is there something else? Do you want to give me more treasures? Lin Xian turned around and asked. Yuchinya said coldly. I just wanted to tell you that there are some people you can't offend. There were some things that couldn't be taken casually. Even if you can take it, you might not be able to live to spend it. That's all I have to say. Lin Gongzi, please do as you please. Lin Xian paid no attention to such threats, and he turned around and left. Although the Rain clan was powerful, so what? Wasn't his old enemy, the Great Devil, the successor of the Great Emperor, Yin Nantian, also a very powerful mortal enemy? The 6 great sects were terrifying, but he still did it without hesitation. This was her character. She would not yield to anyone. Therefore, even though he had just arrived at the 2nd astral boundary, he wasn't afraid of encountering the top clans. If he was afraid of this, what was the point of walking the path of a great emperor? With a flicker of his body, Lin Xian quickly left. On the other side, Yuchinya's face was extremely gloomy. He was powerful and respected by thousands of people. No one had ever dared to provoke them. He wouldn't allow anyone to provoke them. The 2nd astral boundary wouldn't allow such a powerful person to exist. Absolutely not. Humph, he said indifferently. That kid has 5 million gene of divine crystals and the decree of our Rain clan. These are all heaven-shaking treasures. However, our Rain clan won't take it anymore. So, whoever can get it will have it. You don't have to worry about our Rain clan. With that, he turned to leave. After hearing this, the surrounding people felt their scalps go numb. Many of their eyes lit up. Although the other party had said it vaguely, they could instantly hear that this young Master Chinya was instigating other experts to make a move. Actually, even without the other party's words, they were all thinking about this matter. The things in the other party's hands were really too precious. However, they didn't dare to act rashly. If they robbed that kid and the Rain Clan took it back, they wouldn't get any benefits. But now, Yuchinya had said in front of everyone that the Rain Clan wouldn't take it anymore. In that case, they would be able to attack without any fear. Thinking of this, many figures quickly left to chase after Lin Xian. Yuchinya sensed this scene, and the corner of his mouth raised into a cold smile. Kid, I've said it before. Some things can be taken but not spent. That decree and 5 million divine crystals will be the reward for your arrest. I think there will be many people who are willing to kill you. Many people in the surrounding went to assassinate Lin Xian. However, the majority of them failed because they couldn't find any trace of Lin Xian. Only a few extremely powerful saints could chase after him. After flying for roughly 3 days, the first saint caught up to Lin Xian. He didn't act immediately because he had seen how terrifying Lin Xian was. At that time, Lin Xian had defeated Zhang Yunfei. However, this person who was secretly chasing after him was a veteran expert. His experience was even greater than Zhang Yunfei's. Although he had seen Lin Xian's powerful killing intent, he didn't think that it was Lin Xian's own. It was very likely that it was a method to intimidate Zhang Yunfei. Lin Xian's true strength wasn't that terrifying. This was the reason why the older generation experts were chasing after him. The old man waited for the second saint. It was a middle-aged man who was also a powerful saint. He said, "Let's work together and split the loot equally. What do you think?" The middle-aged saint nodded. Chapter 3589. So, I have to thank you for not killing me? Cut the crap. If you want what I have, show me what you're capable of. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The two sages emitted light, and the terrifying great Tao of heaven and earth spread out. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and his face darkened. A terrifying sword in tint emitted from his body, causing the entire starry sky to shake violently. Sword Chi. Is he a sword saint? The faces of the two veteran sages also changed. When the other party fought with Zhang Yunfei, he used his super-strong physique. They didn't expect him to be a sword saint. They knew the attack power of a sword saint, so they were prepared to strike first and not let the other party attack. Die, kid! The old man shouted angrily. His voice was like thunder, causing the world to shake. The other middle-aged sage emitted an unparalleled light. It formed a scene of a lonely mountain. This was the law of the lonely mountain. In addition to the old man's law of sound, the two laws swept forward quickly. These two laws were very terrifying. The two of them were confident that they could take down the other party in an instant. Facing the attacks of the two, Lin Xian's body shone brightly. A law of sword formed in his hand, and he walked forward. All mountains looked small. He instantly used a great magic, and his aura rose infinitely. It was as if he was a great emperor, ruling the world. The mountains under his feet became small. The two sages also felt the phenomenon of heaven and earth, and their bodies trembled. They couldn't help but want to kneel down. Damn it, what kind of magic is this? It's too scary. The two of them roared and quickly retreated. At the same time, they resisted the urge to kneel down. Both of their laws arrived in front of Lin Xian and descended in a frenzy. Haha, kid, go to hell. The two of them revealed a sinister smile. It's just a law. It can't do anything to me. His body emitted light, and the law of sword in his hand was raised. The sword slashed down, and the world was destroyed. Billions of stars shook. The sword slashed down, and a terrifying crack appeared in the void at the same time, spreading into the distance. What? How could he be so powerful? The two sages' pupils shrank. Their law of attack couldn't do anything to him? Wang, I've already said that the two of you can't do anything to me. Since you don't believe me, I can only send you to hell. A cold voice came from behind the old man. The old man was scared out of his wits and quickly turned his head. Damn it, when did you get here? He was too shocked. His soul couldn't find any trace of the other party at all. Spatial divine ability? He was scared out of his wits. No, it wasn't a spatial ability. It was speed. The other party's speed was so fast that he couldn't catch it. What kind of movement technique was that? He didn't know. Damn it. With a furious roar, the law of sound waves formed a large bell that enveloped his body. At the same time, he shook the large bell, releasing a shattering sound that could pierce through the entire world. At such a close distance, I don't believe you can dodge it. Why should I hide? Lin Xian had an amused expression on his face. The sound waves that hit his body produced an earth-shattering sound. However, that was all. His body was not to be trifled with. This sound wave law could not break through his defense. How was that possible? What kind of physique was that? The old man was stunned. At this moment, Lin Xian's law sword slashed down again. With a single slash, the sound wave bell was split in half, and the old man was split in half. The old man's soul screamed and wanted to heal. But then, it was split into 4 halves. There was no other way. His soul escaped and was directly captured by Lin Xian and sealed in the void. Not good. The other middle-aged man was so scared that his scalp went numb. He turned around and fled. They had miscalculated. The other party's strength was far beyond their imagination. Can you escape? Lin Xian stomped his foot, and the law flew out, forming a wave that swept through the sky. The wave was like a giant dragon, and also like tens of thousands of sword chi. It directly rolled the middle-aged man into a dumpling. Then, his heart was pierced by tens of thousands of arrows. His soul was out of his body. A lone mountain wrapped around his soul and fled into the depths of the universe, but it was slapped down by a golden palm. The lone mountain was sent flying, and his soul was also caught. Don't kill us. The middle-aged man was scared out of his wits, and the old man also knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Don't worry, I won't kill you. You are still useful. Lin Xian sneered and directly suppressed the souls and corpses of the two. He stood in the void and waited quietly. He knew that there was more than one enemy. There must be other pursuers. Sure enough, for hours later, there were pursuers coming to kill him. When he saw Lin Xian, he was very excited and quickly rushed over. As for Lin Xian, he looked at him with a sneer. When he came to the front, he realized that something was wrong. Why was this kid's smile so strange? Wait, why was the surrounding atmosphere so strange? That was the blood of a saint. The person who came was also a saint. He was extraordinary, wearing silver armor and holding a crescent scythe. His aura was incomparably powerful. He should be cultivating the Milky Way law. However, at this moment, his face was full of fear. He saw 2 corpses, 2 saints' corpses. At the same time, he also saw 2 souls being suppressed by 2 golden mountains. Saint Wushan, demonic sound saint. How could you be suppressed by someone? The Milky Way saint was stunned. He realized that the 2 of them were both famous saints. His reputation was only greater than his, not weaker than his. But at this moment, the 2 of them were actually suppressed by someone. Chapter 3590. The 2 sages were stunned. This was too unbelievable. Damn it. The net worth of these 21 sages added together was a shocking amount of wealth. Did the other party get it so easily? They didn't dare to imagine how fast he was earning money. Next, Lin Xian began to cultivate. He used the resources he had just obtained to make a breakthrough. Finally, he was only 1 step away from becoming a level 2 sage. On this day, Lin Xian was still cultivating. Suddenly, a roar came from the universe. It was abnormally low. Lin Xian's soul trembled. The blood in his body roared. A dragon's roar came from his body as if it was responding to the roar. This scene caused Lin Xian to open his eyes immediately. He stood up and scanned his surroundings. What was going on? This sound was so strange. It could cause the dragon's sword soul to resonate. What was this sound? He looked at the 2 souls that were still being suppressed and asked coldly, "Did you hear that sound just now?" The 2 souls were already trembling in fear. When they heard Lin Xian's question, they quickly nodded. Then tell me, where did this sound come from? We don't know. This sound has been around for 3 years. It will appear every once in a while. It makes one's soul tremble and want to kneel down. But where did it come from? We don't know either. Has it been going on for 3 years? Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He looked at the two souls and said coldly, "Do you want to live? If you want to live, go and find this information. I'll give you 10 days. If you can find useful information, I'll consider sparing your lives." "Really? Thank you, young master." The two souls were so excited that they were about to cry. Next, Lin Xian left a sword intent on the two souls. If they dared to do anything, he could guarantee that he would immediately destroy their souls. After the two souls left the Golden Mountain, they merged with their bodies. Then, they quickly turned into flowing light and went to find information. Finally, on the 9th day, the two souls returned. They said, "Young master, we found some information." The sound came from the east. "If you want to find it, you can go east," the old man said in a deep voice. It was said that this sound had already attracted the attention of many saints. Many experts had already set out on their way to explore this place. "Young master, head east, and you might meet them. When the time comes, young master can follow them." Dongfang? Lin Xian frowned. Given the identities of these two people, they had been searching for so long with all their might. Yet, they were only able to find a single direction. How mysterious. But at least he knew the direction. He said, "All right, I'll spare your lives. Thank you, young master." The two of them were deeply grateful. They handed over all of their magical treasures and left in a hurry. With a wave of his hand, Lin Xian put away their resources. Then, he looked to the east and left quickly. After flying east for more than 10 days, Lin Xian still had nothing to show for it. On this day, he was floating in the universe when he suddenly saw 3 streaks of light streaking across the sky. The 3 streaks of light did not ride on spirit boats. Instead, they relied on their physical strength to fly in the air. This was a little saint. Lin Xian was incomparably shocked. There were 3 minor saints, and all of them were heading in the same direction. It seemed that this was the place he wanted to find. He quickly performed the Kuren Pong movement technique and followed behind them silently. After following them for about half a month, he stopped. The 3 minor saints directly landed on the star world in front of them. Lin Xian did not land immediately. Instead, he stopped and looked around cautiously. After waiting for 2 days, he found that other than the 3 minor saints, there were many other figures flying towards the star. "Hey Shan, can you see anything?" Lin Xian asked. Hey Shan also flicked his soul and sensed it. Then, he said, "The aura of this star is very strange. It seems to contain some kind of colossus. But what exactly is it? I'm not sure." "It's you." At this moment, a voice sounded from behind. Lin Xian was taken aback and turned his head to look. Could he meet someone he knew here? Who was it? Could it be those people from the Rain Clan? His body shone brightly, and his sword chi was ready to be released. But when he saw the person, he was also stunned. He knew the person behind him. It was the person he met when he was refining gold. Yuan Imo. The people from Wushuang City once helped him to stop Lei Qianzhong and the others. "So, it's brother Yuan Imo, long time no see." Yuan Imo smiled. "Indeed, it's been a long time. I didn't expect you to come to the second star world. How is it? Are you preparing to participate in the Holy City's examination?" "Yes, that's right." Lin Xian nodded. He asked, "I don't know the details. I hope brother Yuan Imo can give me some advice." Yuan Imo said, "That's easy. There's still some time before the Holy City's examination. You'll know when the time comes. It's useless for me to tell you now." After he finished speaking, he was puzzled. "Why are you here? When I was flying, I heard a strange roar. I followed the sound and came here." "So you heard that sound too?" Yuan Imo sighed. Lin Xian asked, "I don't know what kind of demon beast is roaring. I saw many minor saints coming. This involved a certain matter. Since 3 years ago, there had been a strange roar that could shake one's soul and make one's blood and chi boil. After many experts and saints searched for it, they finally found the source of the roar. It's the world you see. It's called Azure Tree Planet. What kind of demon beast is it?" "Brother Yuan Imo, do you know?" Lin Xian asked. "I don't know. There are many guesses, but I don't know what kind of demon beast it is. However, I guess it's an ancient demon beast that was sealed here. Brother Lin, I know that your talent is pretty good, but this place is simply way too dangerous for you. There are many experts and minor saints here. If you're not careful, you might be affected by the battle. So, I advise you to leave quickly. Find a world to settle down and cultivate. When the holy city accepts disciples, you can participate in the examination. I'm just passing by to take a look. I'm going to leave after exploring. This place is too complicated. Thank you for your kindness, Brother Yuanemo. Don't worry. I'm just curious. If the situation is not right, I'll leave quickly. I'm quite confident in my speed. Lin Xian smiled and said, Brother Yuanemo, since you want to explore, why don't we go together? All right. Yuan Emo nodded. If it's just exploring, there shouldn't be much danger. Moreover, he admired Lin Xian very much and wanted to befriend him. Therefore, the two of them discussed and flew towards the world of stars below. Chapter 3591. Greenwood Star was filled with immortal energy. After entering, it was surrounded by mountains and immortal mist. Immortal herbs were in full bloom, and there were even all sorts of spirit beasts flying around. It was like a paradise. This was a wood-type world. Hence, there was a lot of vegetation and the fragrance of spirit herbs. After Lin Xian entered, he was shocked. Why would there be strange roars in such a place? It was unbelievable. Brother Lin, this way. The two of them flew across the sky and passed through countless mountains. Finally, they arrived at an unusual place. The place was very quiet. There was a huge mountain standing on the ground. It was very strange. It was called the Heaven Ancient Tower. Yuan Emo explained. Lin Xian looked forward. His eyes were shining and he was shocked. He realized that the Heaven Ancient Tower was actually a huge mountain. It was just that it had been modified by someone. It was hollowed out and made into an ancient tower. The entire Heaven Ancient Tower was dark gray. The stones on it were carved with complicated and mysterious runes. There was an indescribable aura flowing around it. In any case, one would feel that this place was very mysterious. It was not normal. This aura, Lin Xian frowned. Why did it feel so similar to the fog of death in the scattered star ocean? Moreover, he was cultivating the Taiji art now. He could sense the power of the fog of death very clearly. That was why he had discovered this the moment he arrived. Seeing Lin Xian frown, Yuan Emo asked, Brother Lin, did you discover something special? Lin Xian said. This aura was very similar to the fog of death. Yuan Mo's eyes lit up. You sensed it so quickly? He was really shocked. Because this aura was very faint. He had heard it from others. If it wasn't for someone introducing it, it would be very difficult to sense it. But he didn't expect Lin Xian to sense it so quickly. It really surprised him. He said that this Heaven Ancient Tower was indeed related to the fog of death, because it was said that this ancient tower was brought out from the fog of death by a heavenly sage. He placed it on the Azure Tree Star, hoping to use the powerful vitality of the Azure Tree Star to dissolve the death aura inside. There was such a thing? Lin Xian was even more surprised. However, after thinking about it, if it was the Azure Tree Star, it could really be resolved. There were many powerful life spirit veins here. The vigorous life force could dissolve the aura of death. But who would want to do this? Why did he have to dissolve the death aura of the ancient heavenly tower? What was hidden in the ancient building? It really made people feel incomparably mysterious. They were relatively far away. At this moment, many figures had already appeared in the surroundings. They were all secretly observing. Clearly, they were all trying to find out the secrets of the ancient heavenly tower. The two of them watched from afar for a while before Lin Xian suggested that they take a closer look. Because he felt that this ancient heavenly tower was not ordinary, he wanted to take a closer look. The two of them flew forward. When they arrived in front of the heavenly tower, Su Chun could feel the magnificence of the tower. It also carried a desolate aura. Clearly, the ancient clear heaven tower had definitely existed for tens of thousands of years. Who was it? Who brought it out of the death fog? There were also many saints around. After seeing Lin Xian and Yuan Emo arrive, They only glanced at them and did not pay attention to them anymore. Yuan Mo's strength was not bad, but Lin Xian's cultivation was very weak. A level 1 ant coming here was simply courting death. Therefore, the surrounding saints did not care at all. Lin Xian did not pay attention to those saints either. He just wanted to investigate out of curiosity. He flew a few rounds around the ancient heavenly tower with a solemn expression. The aura here was too mysterious. Suddenly, his body trembled, as if his soul was about to be shattered. He heard a voice ring in his ear. This voice was ancient and deep, like thousands of thunderbolts, directly knocking him out. Yin and Yang reappear. I want to fight immortals. This voice was really too terrifying. Lin Xian's face turned pale, and he almost fell from the sky. He quickly adjusted his body and quickly landed. What's wrong, Brother Lin? Yuan Mo, who was beside him, also noticed that the situation was not right. Lin Xian's face was pale, without a trace of blood, and there was sweat dripping from his forehead. This was too unbelievable. One had to know that he had seen Lin Xian's strength. He was very optimistic about him. But now, the other party's expression was too painful. Could it be that someone was plotting against him? He looked at the saints in all directions. That shouldn't be the case. These sages were very powerful. How could they plot against a first celestial layer? Could it be that they had a grudge against each other? Yuan Mo really could not understand. He asked, Brother Lin, what's wrong? Lin Xian mobilized his body and laws to suppress his qi and blood. He also swallowed some treasures to calm his soul. After a while, he said, Didn't you hear it? Hear what? Yuan Mo was stunned. Lin Xian said, You really didn't hear such a loud voice? Yuan Mo was stunned. Are you talking about the roar? He remembered a few days ago, but he did not hear it recently. What's wrong? Brother Lin, what did you find? You didn't hear it? Lin Xian was extremely surprised. How is this possible? The voice just now was so loud that it contained the power of thunder. It shook him so much that his qi and blood were roiling, and he was almost injured. How could the other party not hear it? He looked in all directions and found that the saints around him were also expressionless. They did not seem to have heard any strange sounds. What's going on? Could it be that I'm hallucinating? No. Maybe I heard wrongly. This place is too strange. Yuan Mo nodded. Even a small saint can't figure it out. I said that the water here is very deep. Let's explore for a while and leave. Lin Xian looked at the heaven-reaching ancient tower again and flew carefully. At the same time, he asked, Black Mountain, did you hear anything just now? I didn't. Kid, what did you hear? Your behavior just now was very abnormal. You're injured. I did feel an impact, and I heard a sound that exploded in my ears. What? What sound did you hear? Black Mountain asked hurriedly. Yin and Yang reappear. I want to fight immortals. What does this mean? Is Black Mountain also confused? Obviously, on the surface, it means that this person is unwilling. But are there really immortals in the world? What kind of existence can fight immortals? Kid, are you sure you didn't hear wrongly? Black Mountain was puzzled. Even if he was the remnant soul of a great saint, he still could not understand what was going on. Lin Xian asked, Haven't you heard of the famous heaven-reaching ancient tower? Black Mountain said, The entire universe is too big, and there are too many famous things. I can't understand them all. There were even some places that even the great emperors could not understand. Chapter 3592. Lin Xian was silent. The reappearance of Yin and Yang. I want to fight immortals. What does this mean? Could there be an ancient expert sealed below? Could the reappearance of Yin and Yang have something to do with Yin and Yang? One should know that he had cultivated the Taiji art, which contained the power of Yin and Yang. Perhaps it had something to do with his arrival. Besides, I want to fight immortals. This was huge news. Were there really immortals in this world? Was the other party an emperor, daring to fight immortals? He had no idea about all of this. Roar. At this moment, an extremely terrifying roar came from the heaven-reaching tower. The sound wave was extremely terrifying, and it reverberated through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. It even caused the surrounding void to shatter rapidly. Retreat. Yuan Emo roared. Lin Xian also used the Kuren Pong movement technique and retreated quickly. As soon as they left, the void where they were previously shattered and turned into chaos. Everyone retreated. This sound wave was really too powerful. At this moment, countless rays of light surged out of the heaven-reaching tower, piercing through the void. The laws of heaven and earth flickered in the air. Obviously, everyone had finally locked onto their target this time. This roar came from the heaven-reaching tower. These newcomers were extremely powerful. There were even a few figures who brought with them terrifying natural laws. They arrived in the vicinity of the ancient heavenly tower and locked down the entire area. On the other hand, Lin Xian and the others quickly retreated to a safe distance as they watched on in shock. The area 100,000 miles ahead had become a terrifying forbidden area. There were only a few figures standing there, and the rest could only stay far away. One of them was a man with a strong aura. There were terrifying laws around him. From afar, it looked like it was raining laws. Who would have thought that the heaven-reaching tower would attract the attention of so many people? It was really surprising. The man spoke, and his voice shook the 9 heavens. Beside him, there were a few other experts. Their statuses and auras were extraordinary. Each and every one of them looked like war gods as they stood in that space. The mighty man in front said loudly, "I'm sure everyone has felt the roar just now. That sound wave is not something an ordinary sage can resist. This is just the outside. Who knows how terrifying that thing is? So, I'll give you a piece of advice. Those who are weak, leave quickly. Otherwise, who knows if there are any treasures here? You might die here. My Rain clan has always maintained the order and peace of the second astral realm. I don't wish to see many of you die here and cause a disaster." The voice spread clearly in all directions. Lin Xian, who was far away, was extremely shocked after hearing it. Someone from the Rain clan. This man was actually an expert from the Rain clan. His name was Yu He, and he was one of the most famous and powerful people among the Rain clan's middle-aged generation. This time, he came personally. It seemed that the Rain clan was to obtain the heaven-reaching tower. Yuan Imo explained to Lin Xian to Lin. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he listened. Rain clan? Indeed, enemies are enemies. After all, Xian, to him, was to be, was. You want to get rid of us with just a few words? Someone snorted coldly. Behind that person, there was a huge phantom of a demonic beast. It was extremely hazy, and its eyes were blood red. It had an aura that could destroy one's soul. It made one's scalp go numb. The other sages sneered as well. The secret of the heaven-reaching tower had been spread around for a long time. They waited for this day with great difficulty. How could they leave just because of a few words? Even the sages in the surroundings were pacing back and forth. Although they didn't dare to leave immediately, none of them left. As long as there was a chance or a chaotic battle, they might be able to fish in troubled waters. The heaven-reaching tower is indeed dangerous. That's why we have to stay and work together with the Rain clan. That's right. If we work together, there's still a chance. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't be able to enter. A few of them said coldly. This made Yubia's expression turn cold. He sneered. Since you guys don't want to leave, then forget it. I've already warned you guys. The Rain clan no longer paid attention to the sages in the surroundings. They began to carefully observe the heaven-reaching tower. For a moment, everyone was observing. No one dared to enter. Boom. At this moment, the void shattered. Golden light shone from afar. A figure quickly glided over. He stood on top of the heaven-reaching tower. This scene shocked everyone. Who was it that was so daring? The heaven-reaching tower was incomparably powerful. The runes engraved on it were extremely mysterious. So many sages didn't dare to get too close, but someone actually dared to stand on top of it. Wasn't this too bold? Even Yuan Imo was surprised. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. In the next moment, he saw a person. A young man. That young man had a heroic appearance. He wore a golden feather robe that was surrounded by a terrifying light. It was extremely dazzling. It was Di Ling. Many people exclaimed. Obviously, they recognized this young man. Lin Xian was shocked when he heard this. What? Imperial Mausoleum? He was dealing. He was too shocked. When he was in the first astral realm, he had heard this name more than once. However, he had never seen it before. He didn't expect to see this legendary genius not long after he arrived in the second astral realm. The other party was indeed very powerful. The laws on his body far surpassed his own. He was even stronger than the Rain Clan's expert, Yu Bieha. This Di Ling was too terrifying. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. Beside him, Yuan Mo also said that this person was very powerful. Although he was more than 1,000 years old, he was only around 1,100 years old. He was still very young. He was already 1,100 years old. Lin Xian was surprised. Then, he felt relieved. He was less than 100 years old. The other party was more than 1,000 years old. No wonder his laws were so strong. He was at the 4th heaven of the Sage Realm, almost reaching the 5th heaven of the Sage Realm. He was really too strong. However, the other party was so powerful that he dared to directly descend on the heaven-reaching tower. He didn't even put some of the surrounding small saints in his eyes. The other party was talented and strong. He indeed had the capital to be arrogant and proud. Furthermore, the power behind the other party must be extremely terrifying. After Di Ling, many experts descended. There was no lack of small saints among them. However, none of them dared to fight on the heaven-reaching tower like Di Ling. They were all fighting on their own side. The people around them were watching nervously. They didn't know when these experts would enter. They wanted to fish in troubled waters. They waited for about 7 days and 7 nights. On this night, the moon was very round. It was like a silver plate that hung in the sky. Today was the day of the full moon. Di Ling raised his head and looked at the silver moon in the sky. The corner of his mouth raised into a smile. The time was up. It was time to take action. Chapter 3593. The other saints also looked up at the moon and nodded. Indeed, it was time to take action. Otherwise, they would have to wait until the next full moon. The full moon of the Azure Tree Star was different from the full moon of other places. It was not once a month, but once a year. If they missed it tonight, they would have to wait until the next year. Obviously, this full moon was related to the formation around the heaven-reaching ancient tower. Therefore, they had to take advantage of the time when the formation was at its weakest to break the formation. Yu Bieha's eyes flickered. He whispered to the Rain Clan's experts behind him to prepare for the next attack. The other minor saints also had terrifying laws on their bodies. They were all ready to attack the heaven-reaching ancient tower. Di Ling took the lead. With a long roar, the sound wave shattered the void. The golden feather robe on his body turned into a terrifying light and slashed forward. Behind him, the Rain Clan's experts and the surrounding minor saints also took action. All kinds of laws of heaven and earth bloomed and shrouded the heaven-reaching ancient tower. This terrifying scene caused the crowd to continuously retreat. Yuan Mo also said, "Brother Lin, this place is too dangerous. Those experts will definitely unleash their full strength later. Let's go to a safe place." Lin Xian nodded and retreated a few million li away. The surrounding people were also retreating, but they retreated by 100,000 li or a few 100,000 li compared to the few million li that Lin Xian and Di Ling retreated. It was much closer. Many people even showed disdain when they saw Lin Xian and Di Ling retreating so far away. They were so afraid of death and still dared to come here to seek opportunities. In front of them, the heaven-reaching ancient tower was constantly shaking under the impact of the laws. It seemed like it would collapse at any time, but it did not collapse. The black stone was abnormally hard. The runes on it flickered. Suddenly, a terrifying black mist emerged from the windows of the heaven-reaching ancient tower, sweeping in all directions. As soon as the black mist appeared, it devoured the laws of heaven and earth and shrouded the area. Not good. Those minor saints sensed the aura of death and quickly retreated. "It's the death mist." Someone screamed and retreated quickly. The little saints and even the Rain Clan's experts all had great skills and exceptional great divine abilities. They retreated extremely quickly. However, the people within tens of thousands of miles or hundreds of thousands of miles didn't manage to escape. Their vitality was instantly sucked dry by the death fog. They turned into bones. Before this, they were mocking Lin Xian, but who knew that they were the pitiful ones? They didn't have powerful strength or cultivation, but they still wanted to take advantage of the situation. They got so close, and now they were finally killed by the death fog. The heaven-reaching ancient tower had been brought here by some unparalleled powerhouse in the mist of death. But now, he realized that this wasn't the case. At this moment, the death mist was being released to the surroundings due to the impact of the outside world. How much death mist was there in the heaven-reaching tower? He had no idea, but he felt that this was an opportunity. Because he had the Tai Chi art, he could go to the heaven-reaching tower without being threatened by the death mist. Lin Xian was worried before this. With so many minor saints and experts here, he might not have the chance to explore the tower. But now, he realized that it was not so. The death mist might be his biggest help. Di Ling, Bi He, and the experts in front soared into the sky, surrounded by the laws. Their faces were gloomy as they looked at the heaven-reaching tower. After the death mist was released, a deep roar was heard from the heaven-reaching tower. Then, a huge shadow appeared behind the heaven-reaching tower. The shadow was very scary. Its eyes were shining with a clear light that made people's scalp numb. It was the phantom of a demonic beast. It seemed like there was an ancient demonic beast suppressed in the heaven-reaching tower. Just the illusion alone was already so terrifying. What exactly was it? Boom, boom. Between the sky and the earth, the enormous black illusory figure disappeared. The pitch-black door of the ancient building slowly opened. Waves of death mist came out from the gate. The gate was opened, and the formation was broken. But the death mist was not easy to deal with. What should we do? Should we retreat? The experts of the Rain Clan frowned and asked. Yu Bieha snorted. It's fine. We'll wait for a while. Although the heaven-reaching tower is powerful, it can't contain too much death mist. After all, this is not the scattered star ocean, so there's no need to worry too much. Hearing this, the experts of the Rain Clan heaved a sigh of relief. The eyes of the other experts flickered. Indeed, just like what Yu Bieha said, there can't be too much death mist here. Sure enough, after waiting for 10 days, the death mist gradually faded and was no longer as dense as before. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Although the death mist faded, it was not something that everyone could bear. A few third heavenly layer saints wanted to break through, but as soon as they got close, their skin dried up and became full of wrinkles, making it difficult for them to move. They screamed, "No, my life. Damn it. I lost 500 years of my life. I lost 300 years of my life." These people screamed crazily and quickly retreated. Only those true minor saints could rely on the power of heaven and earth to open their saint domain and resist the death mist. Of course, there were exceptions. For example, Yu Bieha was a 5th heavenly layer saint who had yet to reach the minor saint realm. However, he could still resist the death mist, because he had a decree of the Rain Clan in his hand. The decree of the Rain Clan shot out countless rays of light and enveloped him. It blocked the death mist. In addition, there was also Di Ling. The green wings on Di Ling's body formed a terrifying ball of light, making him look like a divine being. Needless to say, this was a very terrifying battle armor. It was a saint tool, a defensive-type saint tool. It could definitely block the death mist. Kid, this place is really a good place for you to display your skills. Hurry up and go in. Otherwise, the treasure will be taken away by others. He Shan transmitted his voice. Lin Xian took a deep breath after hearing this. There's no need to rush. Didn't you see that those minor saints didn't go in? If we go in now, we'll definitely attract attention. If a first heavenly layer saint didn't go in rashly, he must have some trump cards. If they discover my secret, I'm afraid I'll be cut into pieces. So, we'll wait for them to go in first. According to my guess, it won't be easy for them to get what they want. After all, that thing is an existence that dares to be called a war immortal. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.